One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 61-80. 61061 Hard Task. What ancient weapon? Hades. Liu Chengkong, who returned to the Ennie's lobby and came to the Judiciary Tower, was shocked when he heard what Spandam said. You must know that ancient weapons were mentioned more than once in the original book, although they did not appear. But from Crocodile's sentence that a single blow from an ancient weapon can destroy an island and make it disappear without a trace, we can see how powerful ancient weapons are. Network. That's right, this mission is sent to you only because the world government affirms your strength, so you must complete this mission and go to Alabasta to find out about Hades by any means. At this time, Spandam did not have the previous one. Despicable and idiot, but said solemnly, it is obvious that ancient weapons make everyone rush to exist, even the world government. If the world government gets a complete ancient weapon, the revolutionary army will even disintegrate absolutely immediately. It will be easier to clean up the 4 emperors and Shichibukai at that time. It seems that the world government has already noticed that Alabasta has news of Hades. It seems that there should be an undercover in Crocodile. It can even be said that the country is under the surveillance of Marine. It seems that this time it is likely to confront Crocodile. Quote. Liu Chengkong thought that he was going to fight Shichibukai. Although he was not the strongest among Shichibukai, after all, he was a genuine Shichibukai. He must not be underestimated just because he was defeated by Luffy. His true strength is even Rob Lucci in the original book. It is not his opponent, so it must not be underestimated. It seems that Spandam is not all idiots, at least he knows the seriousness of the matter, and it is also related to his promotion and making a fortune. No wonder he has a flattering expression on his face when he looks at himself. It's not the one who can command CP9 now. But me, was obviously also warned by Sengoku to know some of my false identity, otherwise it would never have been so with his ugly character, but it would have saved me a lot of unnecessary trouble. Liu Chengkong quickly understood Spandam's flattering appearance, but at the same time he despised Spandam in his heart, but he didn't show any of this, but asked a little seriously, this time I'm going to who will be. It depends on your Dao strength. After the test, you can decide how many people to go and who to go. Spandam was relieved when he heard Liu Chengkong's words, and it seemed that he was also very impressed with this mission. Interest, at least not against yourself, then you still have a chance to get promoted and get rich. So it is. Liu Chengkong showed a sudden realization. Although the current CP9 feat's strength has been improving rapidly, it still takes many years to check compared to the original work when it was hidden in the capital of water, and it will take at least 5 years to go. In the capital of water, their strength still has 5 years of cultivation and 5 years of improvement. These 5 years are also the fastest time period for their strength to improve. Therefore, although the world government is cruel, they do not want these developing elites to die. If the Dao strength value meets the requirements of the world government, then the elites who meet the requirements will definitely be selected. If the number of people who do not meet the requirements or the number of people who meet the requirements is too small, then all of them will definitely go together, then this task has become the right one. The baptism of CP9 allows them to face the real powerhouses. After receiving the baptism, their strength will increase faster, which is also killing 2 birds with 1 stone. This is the Dao strength tester developed by the madman in the Marine headquarters. Although Liu Chengkong did not directly say that he would accept this task, the meaning and questioning in his words had already told Spandam that he would accept it, and it was done. Liu Chengkong is the most difficult to handle, so other CP9 people are much easier to handle, so Spandam can be said to strike while the iron is hot. After all, this task is related to his future. Because of Liu Chengkong's incident, Sengoku has already told him a little dissatisfied. If he doesn't make some achievements, even with his father's help, he will be proposed that CP9 is no longer the commander. No need, I developed a very accurate Dao force value, that is, the ability to test the physical skill level, Rokushiki's game skill, hand together, but because it was only developed not long ago, plus the current strength reasons, it can only be used once. Test 2 people, come 2 by 2. As for the commander, You don't need to test if your Dao strength value is 9. Everyone knows it. Let's go. At this time, Fukuro came out. At this time, Fukuro saw it's getting rounder and rounder. Although it's not as huge as the original, it won't take long at this rate of development to be as big as the original. Bastard, I'm the commander of CP9. I don't need this at all, and I have this thing enough. Spandam, who was exposed to the old bottom, yelled in anger, but it was a pity that Lu Chengkong's everyone involved in CP9 is more direct than in the original, completely ignoring him, and now even Fukuro is like this. This change is a big blow to Spandam. Why was my father so dashing and comfortable when he was the CP9 commander, but so tragic when I was doing it? Spandam Niu thought with a full face. Oh, has it finally been developed? Come on, then. Lu Chengkong was also a little curious about his own Dao strength value, although this was only a physical skill level test and not considered overall strength, but at least there is a reference. Take a look how much stronger these guys are than in the original. Lu Chengkong was also interested at this time and also very curious about how much the strength of Rob Lucci and others has improved because of his joining. Who will come first? Let's go. Fukuro Otonashi looked at the few people present and said, the person who faced this kind of test for the first time was, of course, everyone was very interested, even Rob Lucci. After some debate, the order finally decided as Kumadori, Bluno, Kaku, Jabra, Rob Lucci, and finally Lu Chengkong and Khalifa. Now let alone a few of them, even Spandam is curious. After all, the strength of Lu Chengkong and others is related to his road to promotion and fortune. Come on, let's go. After confirming the order, Fukuro Otonashi immediately rushed towards Kumadori. This guy was so ruthless that he used a staff to insert Fukuro almost without letting Fukuro open the zipper of his mouth and scolded him badly. This guy's response is not generally slow. Boom. Boom. Rokushiki Yuki, hand together. Fukuro Otonashi closed his eyes. It may be the first time to use it, so the test speed is a bit slow, but it is only a few seconds slower than the original. 62062 Dao Strength Test. Kumadori is 360, Bluno is 350. I want it. After Fukuro finished speaking, Kumadori and Bluno looked at each other and saw a hint of approval in each other's eyes. Although Bluno's Dao value in the original book is higher than that of Kumadori, it is higher, but after all, it will be 10 years later. Now Kumadori and Jabra are the oldest in CP9, so his strength is still better than Bluno at this time, and it will not be in the future. Try that Marine's machine. I think if you don't try it, you won't completely believe in Fukuro's ability. Lu Chengkong Isho, he could see the thoughts of the people present, so he couldn't help but say. Okay, so the two of them kicked hard on the Dao value tester. Of course, the guy Kumadori used the staff to insert it, and they found the Dao value tester and Fukuro's Rokushiki astonishingly. The game test came out exactly the same, no more and no less. Fukuro, you are really amazing, you actually developed such a physical skill. Kaku couldn't help but admire immediately when he saw that the two were exactly the same. Of course, don't look at who I am, let's go, now it's time for you and Jabra to pull. Fukuro Otonashi said very proudly, and then he volleyed directly towards Kaku and pulled Jabra. Kaku, 680, Jabra, 750. Sure enough, in the original book, Jabra would experience so much after seeing that Kaku's power value exceeded his own, because he had a power value before going to the water capital. They are all lower than him. You must know that his age is 12 years older than Kaku. He is the oldest in CP9, so he is very surprised and embarrassed that the youngest Kaku has surpassed himself later. It won't be such a big reaction, although being dumped is a bit of an influence. It's your time, Lucci, Khalifa. Novel.com. All eyes were on Rob Lucci and Khalifa. After all, in their hearts, Khalifa's strength was no less than Lu Chengkong's, although Khalifa conceded defeat in the previous actual combat. But that's because Khalifa can't remain elemental for a long time. If it's a life-threatening battle, the outcome is unknown. This is their idea. After all, the idea that Logia is the strongest of the three fruits is deeply rooted for them. If it wasn't for Lu Chengkong's fruit ability as too abnormal, they would not be able to compare Paramesha's ability with Logia's ability, and Khalifa's is not ordinary. Logia, but the top fruit ability in Logia is the fruit of light. Come on. In the same way, everyone kicked, but because of Khalifa's clothes, all the men present except Lu Chengkong, including Spandam and Rob Lucci, were there when she kicked. He turned around involuntarily, and Fukuro Otonashi was even more powerful. He didn't know where he brought two small zippers, pressed them on his eyes, and then zipped them up. His sturdy performance made Lu Chengkong speechless. What's the guy's body like? What surprised Lu Chengkong was that after being kicked out by Khalifa, Fukuro Otonashi actually reached out and took off the zipper on both eyes. It looked exactly the same as before the zipper was removed, and there was no trace of damage, not even a single zipper. There are no wounds, which is really awesome. Lucci is 1,200, Khalifa is 1,700. Otonashi Fukuro's words surprised everyone present. Now Rob Lucci still has 10 years to become stronger, and the next 10 years will be his most improved strength. The fastest time period, so now he is normal at 1200. Although they were surprised, they reluctantly accepted Rob Lucci's usual performance. Now they are so surprised. No wonder in the original book that Lucci came back after 5 years and unexpectedly changed. Being 4000 would be so surprising. In the end, it's you, Chengkong. Fukuro Otonashi came over. He couldn't help swallowing, but he didn't know how strong Lu Chengkong was. Because of Lu Chengkong's intervention, Khalifa's strength was not only not in the original book. At the end, instead, it became an existence far beyond Rob Lucci. But what they are most interested in is Lu Chengkong's Dao strength, so now everyone's eyes are on Lu Chengkong, especially Rob Lucci and Spandam who want to see the gap between themselves and Lu Chengkong. How big? One is to see if Lu Chengkong's strength is beyond the expectations of the world government. But now Rob Lucci's strength has exceeded the expectations of the world government. Of course, Khalifa is an exception. Come on, Lu Chengkong said with a chuckle, looking at Fukuro Otonashi, who was calm even in the face of Rob Lucci's 4000 Dao strength in the original book. His nervous appearance at this time was very funny. He is only 13 years old now. Even if you are strong, even if you use the fruit ability, you can't be stronger than Rob Lucci, who has been baptized in countless battles at the age of 28 in the original book, and he is satisfied that he has changed the original work after seeing Khalifa's power value. At the same time, he also guessed the level of his Dao strength. Come on. Fukuro Otonashi swallowed his saliva. After all, his current strength is still far from the original 800 Dao stamina, and it was unnecessary to use this ability for the first time to face Lu Chengkong without being nervous. And his Dao strength test also has a bottom line, that is, he can't test more than 6 times his own Dao strength value. Of course, this is what I'm talking about now and I won't know it in the future. 10 years after the original. Looking at the flying Otonashi Fukuro, Lu Chengkong's eyes flashed, his strength concentrated on his right leg and he suddenly kicked out. With a bang, Wu Fukuro flew out of the whole body, and loaded it on the wall like a cannonball. A huge crack appeared. It's not that exaggerated, the Dao value of the original Lucci 4000 is just to kick Fukuro and fall to the ground. I'm only 13 years old and I can't be stronger than the Dao value of the original Lucci 4000. Oh, I understand. Fukuro is using it for the first time now, and now his Dao value is also low, and this ability cannot exceed 6 times his current ability. My kick just now should have been close to or exceeded his limit, so this is the case. Quote. Lu Chengkong was a little surprised to see Fukuro Otonashi, who was kicked into the wall by himself, and even had a crack. He couldn't believe it, but he understood in an instant. Fukuro's Dao strength in the original book as Khalifa was only high, ranking second from the bottom, but now it has become the last one. The Dao value is lower than that of Bluno, it should be around 300, and Khalifa's 1700 Dao value is still within his ability. It was nothing within the range of the test, but now he should have exceeded his 6 times, which is more than 1,800 Dao strength, so that's why Fukuro did this. How about Fukuro Chengkong's Dao strength? The first question was not Rob Lucci, but Lu Chengkong's wife Khalifa. As Lu Chengkong's wife, she is of course the one who cares most about Lu Chengkong's strength. 63,063 exceeded the standard. I am now at 330 Dao strength. The limit that my hand can test at present is 6 times that of mine, which is 1980, but Zhang Kong's Dao strength value has exceeded the standard. I can't test it, it's really shameful. Let's go. Obanashi Fukuro didn't expect an accident when he used it for the first time. He never knew what embarrassment was, but his face was very embarrassed at this time. What exceeded the standard? Rob Lucci, Kaku and others said in disbelief. Although Khalifa is powerful, at least it has been tested. Now that Lu Chengkong has exceeded the standard, how could they not be so shocked? Compared to them however, Spandam was not surprised at all. He was just excited. He could calculate such a simple arithmetic, that is, Lu Chengkong's Dao strength value at least exceeded 1980, which was far beyond the expectations of the world government. Inside, then the stronger Lu Chengkong is, the greater the chance of completing this mission. Then let's test it with this Dao strength tester. The bottom line of this machine is 3000 Dao strength. Spandam immediately ran over and said diligently. Okay. Lu Chengkong can only kick one more kick, but this time it is not as shocking as before, but this is only relative. When Lu Chengkong's Dao strength value comes out, the current CP9 everyone was shocked and speechless for a long time. 2000. Rob Lucci stared at the numbers on the machine with a stunned voice, and his voice trembled a little. He knew very well that Lu Chengkong's Dao strength value was only 800 higher than him, but his combat power was definitely several times his. Because the Dao strength value is more difficult to improve the further back, the further the Dao strength value difference is just a little bit, the gap between the two sides is huge. Just like if the Dao strength value of the two sides is only one difference, then the strength of the two sides will not be much different, but each of 2000, 3000, and 4000 is a watershed. If the Dao strength value is if the Dao strength values of two people are more than 2000, then the difference is many times larger than when the difference is 1000, and the more you go, the more so. I want it. In the original book, Kaku is 20 more than Jabra, but Jabra actually said that the ability of adding devil fruit will not be worse than Kaku, just the difference of 20 is so big, not to mention the difference of 8 at this time. Hundreds, so the blow to Rob Lucci is not a big one. Okay, your strength has basically passed the test. But according to the arrangements given by the world government, if your strength exceeds your expectations, you can choose freely. Of course, you must be accompanied by 2 people with a Dao strength value exceeding 800. The happy Spandam did not order troops randomly, but let Lu Chengkong and others choose. If I don't go, it's not good if I accidentally tell the secret, and my strength is at the bottom. I also took a task before. I think that task is very helpful to me. So don't go. Obanashi Fukuro was the first to choose not to go, but it was not unreasonable for him to choose. The ancient weapon Hades wanted to investigate these classified information. If he accidentally leaked his words, it would be dangerous, and he knew it by looking at him. The second Dao strength test was the lowest because he made him suffer a certain degree of blow, so he also had to work hard to improve his strength. So he chose the mission of assassination instead of inquiring about intelligence. Is there a specified number of people or time? Although Lu Chengkong was both the captain of CP9 in name and in fact, he did not force anyone to go or not, but asked Spandam instead. 3 plans. If no one exceeds 800 Dao strength, then the above requires all CP9 staff to go together. But if there is 1 or 2, then 6 people go. If there are more than 2, then you can choose freely. The premise is just now. I said it too. Spandam was finally relieved at this moment, and now he was all about his own promotion and making a fortune. Khalifa and I will go, you can choose freely. Lu Chengkong nodded. Since there is no limit on the number of people, everything is easy to say, at least there will be no fighting. In the end, after some debate, the number of people who went to was finally determined. In addition to Lu Chengkong and Khalifa, there are Rob Lucci, Kaku, and Jabra respectively. As for the remaining Kumadori, Fukuro, and Bluno, they feel that their strength is too much low, so they chose the most suitable real-time combat mission, that is, assassination, and improved their strength and the use of Rokushiki through constant battles. Let's go. Now that the number of people has been decided, of course, he has to strike while the iron is hot and set off immediately, walking towards the sea train on the coast while looking at the information in his hand. It seems that the intelligence capabilities of the world government are definitely not strong in general. The strongest intelligence agency under their command is definitely not CP9. There must be a more powerful intelligence organization, and even most of Crocodile's things have been investigated clearly, including he can find out the secrets of the ancient weapon Pluto. It's really scary. People from CP1 to CP8 definitely don't have the strength to investigate all these information clearly, so it should be the talent in CP0 that the lizard man said have that strength. Can teach Khalifa, who is the weakest in the original work, to become the glamorous queen who surpasses Lucci's existence and can kill CP0 Feet's captain, then that woman should be the strongest in CP0. Lu Chengkong looked at the information on the intelligence and secretly analyzed the concealed information in his heart. Although Khalifa died in the original book, his younger brother has no goal of survival, or the goal is to kill the pirates, take revenge, and not become stronger. People with motivation and survival goals will never achieve success no matter how high their aptitude is. Now that Khalifa has itself, whether it is the driving force for change and the goal of survival, and it is very firm, now it has the heart of a strong man, and a heart that absolutely believes in itself, but if it is only by relying on it most, these Khalifa are closely following Rob Lucci's strength are barely equal to him. Among them, the most important role is the teaching and guidance of the glamorous queen. Without her teaching, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa will never have their current strength. The most important thing is the only thing is that Khalifa's Dao strength test just now is only a test of physical skills, and the fruit of light has not been added. If you add the ability of the fruit of light, then Khalifa's real power value will definitely exceed 2000 or even reach between 2002 and 2004. After all, the ability of the top fruit of light in Logia is no joke. The ability of the fruit is even appreciated by the mysterious girl. If it is really just like the ordinary Logia fruit, it is impossible to gain the mysterious girl's eyes. 64064 Logia can beat. The one who knows the information of Pluto is Shichibukai's crocodile, that is, our mission this time must collide with him. Although Shichibukai is nominally Marine's person, but in fact, it is only through the rights given by Marine to obtain greater benefits. It's just pirates, so once their interests are involved, Shichibukai will definitely kill us without hesitation. Sitting on the sea train, enjoying the massage of Khalifa's jade hands and speaking out his thoughts, then he threw the information in his hands to Rob Lucci and a few others to see for themselves. The performance of Rob Lucci and the others in the battle made Lu Chengkong very admire. They were able to hide under iceberg's eyes for so many years, so that the other party could not be found or even trusted them. They were very good at completing these tasks. It seems that the world government is not only letting us inquire about the reputation information, but also let us face the crocodile and see the real powerhouse, and those who can survive are the real elites. Jabra, who ate the dog, fruit, and wolf type, was very cunning, immediately guessed the intention of the world government. This task is not difficult, but it is not easy at all. As long as crocodile is overcome, all problems will be solved. Rob Lucci analyzed the key points. The shadow of the famous tree. Everyone in Shichibukai has been rampant at sea for more than 10 years and has not been driven down by anyone. It is definitely the existence of a big pirate. Although crocodile is not the strongest in Shichibukai, the Logia fruit is definitely not something they can defeat at the moment. Don't look at crocodile being defeated by Luffy and think his strength is very weak. In fact, if he hadn't despised the enemy, Luo been betrayed, plus Luffy knew his weakness, and he actually backed away in the final battle, which made the poisoned Luffy imposing, and finally led to defeat. In fact, his real strength is definitely not worse than Gecko Moria, and even slightly better than Gecko Moria in a one-on-one situation, because both of them lack physical training, but only develop the fruit ability to an extreme point. So after their fruit ability was cracked, they were all in a hurry, adding Luffy's lifeless battle, Shao King's constitution, and unbeaten luck against the sky, then it would really be a miracle. This crocodile is definitely not simple. In a big event, when I met Don Quixote, one of the Shichibukai who offered a reward of 340 million, I was not afraid at all, and I dared to fight with one of the Shichibukai, the world's strongest swordsman eagle. Duel with eyes, and enough confidence to block his attack. And the most terrible thing, when he came to the top of the war, he attacked Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world. These points are enough to show that crocodile is strong. Lu Chengkong, I thought to myself. In this quiet but still heavy atmosphere, Lu Chengkong and the others were each thinking about the task, and they only recovered when they reached the capital of water and boarded the marine ship to sail to Alabasta. You don't have to worry so much. Crocodile has an Achilles heel, that is, he has a great contempt for some unknown or unknown people, and his body lacks exercise, although he has developed the Logia rustling fruit into it. It's very powerful, but it's not invincible. Lu Chengkong said with a smile when he looked at the serious expressions on the faces of the people around him because of his own reasons. He is not too worried about the battle with Crocodile. He believes that he can win, because he is not fighting for himself. There is Khalifa behind him, so he must not be defeated. With this kind of thinking it is to believe that you will never have a problem. Although none of us here knows hockey, he will be very passive in the face of elementalization for a long time. But Logia's devil fruit is more passive than Paramesha and Zone in some situations. Shasha fruit is no exception. Kaku, you are not afraid of seawater. What if you put on a piece of seawater and sprinkle it on him? Although Lu Chengkong knows Crocodile's weakness, if he is alone, it is not a last resort. Wouldn't beat Crocodile this way. But now it's not just him, Rob Lucci and the others. These guys completely treat him as their boss, comrades in arms. If they have an accident because of their own reasons, I'm so sorry for them, so he still does it. Be prepared to bring some seawater to Kaku, who doesn't eat devil fruits. You want him to lose his fruit ability, then even if he loses a second of his physical lack of exercise, it is enough for us to kill him. Rob Lucci's eyes lit up. He really hadn't thought about this. After all, he is more than there is still a big gap between him being a 28-year-old man from the original book. No, in addition to locking sea stones on them, it is useless for people who eat devil fruits to simply sprinkle seawater on their bodies. Only by immersing in seawater will they become powerless and even use the ability. There is no strength at all. Generally, the power lost by a person with ability is proportional to the amount of water it contacts. The more parts of the body in the water, the faster the strength will be lost. Contact with a small amount of seawater or showering, rain, etc. will not affect the ability person. Lu Chengkong glanced at Rob Lucci and the others and found that they didn't know this, so he had to explain it to them. Since Crocodile won't be able to use the fruit ability, why did you let Kaku bring seawater? Jabra said with a puzzled face. It's very simple. What will happen to the sand when it meets water? Lu Chengkong's eyes flickered. These guys actually forgot the simple truth of the 5 elements mutually reinforcing each other. It seems that the prestige created by the Logia fruit has already made them, who are not high-level powerhouses, think it is true invincible and unbreakable existence. If it can't be condensed into sand, then it's not impossible for him to be defeated if he can't be elementalized, and if there is water, even if the water is absorbed by his ability, he won't die, at least he can save his life. After Lu Chengkong told Crocodile's secret, the terrifying Rob Lucci and others who were in a heavy heart immediately regained their energy, and their hearts that were not very confident also developed an amazing fighting spirit. Although the opponent was stronger than himself and others, at least it was not invincible. Yes, as long as there is a chance of victory, then they don't have to be so frustrated. It turns out that Logia is not invincible. It seems that it is not entirely true that Logia is the strongest of the three fruits. It was Lu Chengkong's words that completely subverted their cognition. At this moment, they have changed. His own inherent psychology is no longer that Logia is invincible. The change and growth of this kind of thinking is of great help to them. You must know that people who don't even believe that they can defeat the Logia fruit are already much weaker when facing people with Logia ability. Now they have improved their mental state, and this improvement is more rare than the direct improvement in strength. 65065 Alabasta. It's really hard to tell that the one in front of you is Alabasta. Since the mission this time is an ancient weapon, the marine ship given by the marine headquarters is very good, and the speed is not the same as the one Lu Chengkong was sitting on before, so far. The journey actually takes less than a month to arrive. Although it is not as good as the Sunshine Wanli, which has the wind and cannons, it is also very powerful. It is a rare good ship. At this time, Lu Chengkong has just landed in the kingdom of Alabasta. Looking at the oasis in front of him, it is impossible to connect with Alabasta 10 years later. It is no wonder that the revolutionary army rebelled, and a good oasis kingdom has turned into a big desert. It's already very good to kill him, but at the same time, Lu Chengkong has a higher opinion of Crocodile's strength. He can turn an oasis kingdom into a desert kingdom. His sandy fruit has been developed to a very powerful level. Although the Khalifa beside him is also a Logia fruit, and the ability of the fruit of light is much higher than that of the fruit of sand, but Khalifa will definitely lose in a real fight. It seems that Khalifa and I still have a long way to go. Whether it's physical skills or fruit ability, now I'm just an entry-level existence in front of those strong people, but it's still 10 years away from the original book. These 10 years have been enough for me to grow up to the point where I can fight against these powerhouses. Lu Chengkong clenched his fists involuntarily when he thought of this. His eyes were burning with a raging fire of fighting intent. This is what a powerhouse should have. Not afraid of all challenges, even if he is weak now. Husband, I will definitely not hold you back. The so-called husband and wife connection. Khalifa immediately noticed the change in Lu Chengkong's body, and two golden yellow rays of holiness burst out from his beautiful eyes. Let's go. I remember there is a casino here. Go there and win some money. Lu Chengkong knew exactly where Hades' design was, but he wouldn't say it. If he said it now, it would be too attractive. It's too unbelievable for people to pay attention. Let's talk about it through Sand Crocodile. Anyway, Rob Lucci and others in the original book found the design of Hades in Iceberg's hands, so it's okay to say that you can get the information here. Is this too ostentatious? Rob Lucci asked suspiciously. Kaku and Jabra beside him also looked at Lu Chengkong with the same eyes. The matter of ancient weapons is of great importance. You think that we can complete this task by hiding? Put away those flukes. Since the Marine headquarters can give us this information, it means that the Marine headquarters or the world government has long ago. We arranged a powerful undercover agent in Crocodile, who has the ability to find out this information, so why not directly find out where the ancient weapons are? Lu Chengkong took a hat sewed by Khalifa himself from Khalifa and put it on his head, said his thoughts. You're saying the world government deliberately made us fight Crocodile? Rob Lucci said in a surprised tone. Yes, even if we hide the world government, we will try to inform Crocodile. Since the world government can find so many things, we don't need us to find any information about Hades. The most important thing they want us to come is to test the strength of CP9. At what point, whether you can retreat in the face of a Shichibukai, or defeat this Shichibukai, whether the success or failure is related to the next move of the Marine headquarters. Lu Chengkong explained. That is to say, if we can retreat or defeat Crocodile, then Shichibukai's position will also change. As Shichibukai, even CP9 people can't beat him, so keeping him will be of no use. What is the strength of the time? If we lose, it's nothing. The ones who die are those who fail the test, and the ones who survive are the elites of the elites. Said to come to Pluto, but in fact it is just to make Shichibukai a whetstone for CP9, and also to give Crocodile a warning, telling him that everything is given to him by Marine, and if he does something against Marine's interests, then Marine can also be Taking it back, he also told Crocodile that everything was under Marine's watch, and it was best not to do anything stupid. Khalifa, who has the most delicate mind and knows Lu Chenghong best, immediately said the following words. Damn, don't we become pawns? Rob Lucci and Jabra, who were full of wildness after eating the animal fruit, immediately became hot, thinking that they didn't think of this in the original book. From the very beginning, we were Marine's pawns. The weak and the strong eat the fittest to survive, but we buried him in advance and replaced him with a stronger person. Marine has never cared about our lives and deaths, so don't risk your own life. Hand it into Marine's hands, or you won't know how it will die. Lu Chenghong was worried that they still trusted the world government as in the original book, but when they met Buster Call, they ignored their lives and deaths. Are we really just a dispensable pawn played by the world government? The three of Rob Lucci fell silent for a while, thinking about the same thing in their hearts. They were brainwashed by the world government since childhood, but they never thought of it. In this regard, if it wasn't for Lu Chenghong's reminder this time and the strong evidence in front of them, they really couldn't believe it. I just want to remind you, why is it worth your life, world government? Hee, unless you all eat the fruits of Logia and become admiral potential, otherwise as long as you have enough benefits, you can betray it. Lu Chenghong shaking his head, he said, without him, he is not angry at the actions of the world government, because this is the case in every major force, even the Revolutionary Army. This world is always respected by the most direct powerhouse. The weak can only be stepped on. With their powerful constitution, they soon came to the casino opened by Crocodile. Although it was not as prosperous as the original 10 years later, it was also the biggest casino Lu Chenghong had seen since he came to this world. Lu Chenghong, who had never gambled before, had a good gambling addiction. It's no wonder that so many people have gone bankrupt just because of gambling. This kind of interchange between bliss and extreme sadness is very exciting, and it can relax the tired body and mind. Lu Chenghong looked at the pile of chips on the gambling table in front of him. But he won it with one chip. Although it was the first time he was gambling, it was too easy to see through the opponent's whole cards or read the number of dice with his strength, hearing, and vision. Kaku, I didn't expect the taste of gambling to be so cool. Haha, it's really enjoyable, I bought this game big. At this moment, Jabra pulled all the chips with excitement like a gambler. It might be Lu just now. Chenghong's words made them very contradictory, so they urgently needed to vent, but they vented all the irritability and boredom in their hearts to the gambling table, and even the always calm Rob Lucci's eyes showed a trace of fanaticism. 66066 Goodbye Crocodile. Sir, you have already won a lot. This is the casino of Lord Shichibukai Crocodile. I hope you don't make trouble here. At this time, Crocodile's reputation was not as high as it was 10 years later, so these implied threats can be said directly. Obviously the performance of Lu Chenghong and the others made them think they were here to make trouble. Crap you, what do you mean? You've already opened a casino, and no one else is allowed to win money. Jabra, who was in a bad mood, and his temper was also very irritable, got angry at the first time, and Lu beside him Zhang Kong didn't stop him after seeing it. After all, he would meet Crocodile sooner or later, so wouldn't it be better to let Jabra pull him out in this way? Lucci, get ready. Lu Chenghong and Khalifa have secretly made preparations for the battle, but they are just a little worried that Rob Lucci will have problems with their strength because of what they just said. After all, the other party is Shichibukai. If so, people will die. Yeah, Rob Lucci, who had the best self-control, had recovered after venting on the gambling table just now. That is, Jabra was still going crazy there, but he didn't stop it. Obviously, he also understood Lu Chenghong's thoughts. Sir, facing Jabra, who was full of anger in his eyes, and with his powerful aura, the dealer who was just shaking the dice was immediately frightened, and just when he was about to say something, a voice helped him say the rest. It seems that you are here to make trouble with me, but since I have opened a casino, of course you are allowed to win money. Since you want to gamble so much, then I will come to play with you. One left hand is a golden hook with highly poisonous. There is a horizontal scar on his face, and a man in his 30s who is wearing a black coat with fur, often with a cigar in his mouth, walked up to Jabra and said in a casual tone, "Okay." After Jabra saw the person clearly, Vv's eyes narrowed, and at the same time, his irritable temper was also restrained a lot. After seeing no change in the faces of Lu Chengkong and others, he realized that they were deliberately letting themselves. Madness led Crocodile out. Since he entered the theme as soon as he came, there is no need for him to be afraid of Jabra. After all, wolves are never afraid of any enemy, even if the opponent is stronger than him, just like the original book. He knows that Luchi's strength is much stronger than himself. A lot of times the same dare to challenge him is like this. Dong dong. The way Crocodile picked up the 3 dice and shook it was very simple, as if he was just a novice, but Lu Chengkong already knew the result when he saw Crocodile let go of his right hand. Jabra is defeated. Lu Chengkong's ear is very keen, although his voice was very low, but Lu Chengkong, who had just focused his mind just now, could still hear the subtle changes in the dice cup. Why? If Rob Lucci turned into a leopard, his ears would definitely be more sensitive than Lu Chengkong, and he would definitely be able to hear it, but now he is in a physical state, and he didn't listen carefully at all, so I don't know what Crocodile did. What hands and feet? There is sand controlled by Crocodile in the dice cup. No matter what Jabra chooses, he can change it. Even if Jabra sees through the cheating, he can only gamble. Lu Chengkong did not hide what he knew. What an exquisite control. He really deserves to be Shichibukai. Even if his physical skills are poor, he can already become a strong man just by relying on his level of fruit. Rob Lucci thought to himself in shock. Big. Jabra thought for a while. His face was a little nervous, but in the end he chose to hear the points, but unfortunately it became small after driving it out. What? You cheated. Jabra's face changed greatly. He didn't realize how Crocodile changed the number of dice, so after seeing the result, he blurted out like a normal gambler. Oh, where did I cheat? I haven't touched the dice cup. Can you only win money but not lose money? Crocodile's tone was flat, but when he heard Jabra's ear, it turned into a kind of smugness. It looked like Jabra, who was already hot-tempered, broke out immediately. Damn, Renkyaku Tempest Kick Lone Wolf. Jabra, who was hot-headed, immediately used Renkyaku Tempest Kick, but the vacuum slash that originally attacked in a straight line turned into a wild wolf running and jumping towards Crocodile. CP9. Crocodile's eyes and pupils vivi shrank. Although when he saw Lu Chengkong and Khalifa, he knew that the world government had been paying attention to him, and at the same time remembered the scene when Daz Bones and Lu Chengkong were fighting, and he had already guessed in his heart. I knew the identity and purpose of the other party, but I was still a little surprised after seeing the physical skills that Jabra pulled. But this attack is useless to me. But the surprise turned into surprise. Since the other party dared to do something to him, he didn't need to be merciful. He turned the element into sand, and Jabra's Renkyaku Tempest Kick was immediately invalid. Let's do it. Lu Chengkong's eyes burst out with a terrifying fighting intent. He roared at the people around him. Rob Lucci turned into a leopard without even thinking, and kicked the Renkyaku Tempest Kick with a single blow, although there was no original in the book. The terrifying Renkyaku Tempest Kick used when the water capital turned into a leopard man is terrifying, but looking at the sharp arc of the vacuum slash, most people will surely die when they encounter it, but unfortunately the other party developed the Logia fruit into the powerful Shichibukai. These attacks are equally ineffective against him. It seems that Marine doesn't want to tear my face with me. These guys should be sent by Marine to test me. Since they are chess pieces, I can only help you clean up with reluctance. Don't forget the identity of Crocodile, he is absolutely outstanding strategist. Compared with him, Kuro of 100 Plans, who was known for his resourcefulness in East Blue, was as simple as a kindergarten child, so he had already guessed Marine's intentions in an instant, but he didn't expect Marine to take him. Come make a whetstone for CP9. Elementalization. Light of Judgment. Khalifa looked at Crocodile, whose half-body was elementalized, and said in a cold voice. At the same time, the jade hands folded together and the void shot a hot gold against Crocodile, whose half-body was elementalized at this time. The yellow rays of light give people a feeling of nobility and inviolability. What kind of light is this? Isn't he glint glint fruit eaten by Kizaru? How can someone use light, and it seems to be of a higher level than Kizaru? Is it the legendary fruit of light? Damn, how could such a person be chess pieces? I understand that the hateful marine actually used me as a whetstone for these guys. Since I killed them all, the fruit of light haha, the holder of the legendary ability will soon be killed. I killed you, you just wait for the heartache. Crocodile roared in disbelief when he saw the golden light that hit him instantly. 67067 PK Shichibukai. Tell you guys, Xiaoxi is going to be on the shelves on Thursday. Guys, get ready to stand up. It's an opportunity. Shave, silencer, Shigen finger pistol explosion. Lu Chengkong was very aware of the effect of Khalifa's ability. The moment he saw Crocodile being hit by the light of judgment, he immediately turned the speed to the maximum. He rushed in front of Crocodile, and his index finger, like a burning flame, shot directly at Crocodile's body covered by the golden Wang's light. Flutter. How is that possible? Crocodile shouted in horror, looking down at Lu Chengkong's body, which had pierced through his clearly elementalized body with disbelief, and seeing the blood rushing out of his chest, he suddenly became furious. Who is he? He is Shichibukai, the famous big pirate, who was injured by a little devil, but at the same time when he was furious, he was cautious and dealt with Khalifa's ability carefully. Damn, is this the ability of the Fruit of Light? That woman's ability has not been developed to a strong enough level, but it can make my body after elementalization become routine, and it is still in a situation that I don't know. Down, the surface is still sand, but it has turned into flesh and blood. It really deserves to be the legendary Fruit of Light, but this will not let you live, or I will die if you grow up in the future. Thinking of this Crocodile's eyes burning a killing intent that made the air cold, and the shot was full of power. Desert Sword. I saw Crocodile's arm suddenly turned into a giant sand knife, and slashed towards the nearest Jabra in front of him. Obviously, he wanted to break them one by one. At that time, there will be only one fruit that has not been fully developed. Khalifa is a good solution. Kami-e. In the face of this kind of straight attack, no one in CP9 is afraid. Jabra pulls his body to change immediately with the airflow generated by Crocodile's action, and escapes as easily as a piece of white paper. The slash of the sand knife. Trouble Rokushiki. Since a small-scale attack can't solve you in a short time, I will bury you in the desert at one time. Even if your Fruit of Light is strong, you can't seal my fruit ability. Go to hell, desert sunflowers. Quote. Under the control of Crocodile, the land in the casino suddenly turned into a sand dune. If it was an ordinary person, he would have been sucked into it long ago. Unfortunately, he was facing CP9, and he was still CP9 who had information about his abilities. After seeing the changes in the ground, everyone immediately used the moon step to lift off, and at the same time, they used their respective enhanced Renkyaku Tempest Kick against the ground Crocodile in the sky. Renkyaku Tempest Kick Kaniao. Renkyaku Tempest Kick Bele. Renkyaku Tempest Kick Wolf Stars. Renkyaku Tempest Kick Air Cut. Renkyaku Tempest Kick Raging Dragon. 5 different enhanced versions of Renkyaku Tempest Kick flew out of the sky, and the destructive power of each move was many times stronger than that of the normal Renkyaku Tempest Kick. It's really troublesome Rokushiki. It seems that the ground attack is ineffective against them. But don't be complacent. Shichibukai is not as powerful as you can imagine, Shaolan. Crocodile roared in his heart, his face full of hideousness killing intent. He had made up his mind that he would never let Lu Chengkong and others leave alive, especially Khalifa. The power of the Fruit of Light had cast a great shadow on him. Oops, Khalifa. Lu Chengkong's face changed greatly, watching the long destructed casino suddenly appear a more and more huge storm. The power may not be very big at first, but at that time Crocodile can still control. However, as time goes on, the power of the storm will increase to the level of natural disasters, and even Crocodile can't control it. Using this move here can easily kill Lu Chengkong and the 5 who can't be hockey in one fell swoop. It's also the first time I use it. I hope it will be successful. The Tear of Light. Khalifa's eyes flashed a decisive color, and the body developed a kind of aura of breaking the boat, and if you don't succeed, you will become a benevolent, and at the same time, the body exudes a kind of holy and inviolable golden light surrounded Khalifa. At this time, Khalifa seemed to be transformed into a goddess of light. He folded his hands together and shot towards him and others. Pushing it out lightly, all the golden light on Khalifa's body was concentrated on her jade hand in an instant, and then turned into a laser and sprayed out. Bang! Under the high-speed rotation, the storm full of nature's anger and power was like ice and snow meeting fire in an instant, making a huge roar and then being forcibly obliterated under the baptism of Jin Wang's light. It's a pity that such a powerful move at this time. Khalifa's consumption is also very huge. You can see that her ruddy face has turned pale as paper. The fruit of light is really powerful, but unfortunately you are all going to die today no matter what. The desert diamond sword is dry and cracked. Crocodile's murderous voice suddenly sounded when Lu Chengkong and the others watched the storm disappearing in front of them with lingering fears. Oops! Renkyaku, Tempest kicked Dragon's Wrath. Lu Chengkong's expression changed greatly. He turned around and immediately used his most powerful Renkyaku, Tempest kicked Dragon's Wrath, and a line appeared in the air. Filled with rage, the blue and white dragon rushed towards Crocodile as if to destroy everything in front of him. It's too late, Crocodile said in a regretful tone, obviously looking like a rabbit died and a fox was sad. I saw Kaku and Jabra let out a scream at the same time. One was hit by the desert diamond sword and fell to the ground, the other but it was sucked into a human being. If it wasn't for Lu Chengkong's Renkyaku, Tempest kicked Dragon's Wrath to force Crocodile away in time, Kaku might have been sucked to death. Kaku, Jabra, I want you to die. Rob Lucci glared furiously and roared, as if falling into madness. Countless vacuum cuts were kicked out by him, although he and Jabra were usually in the wrong way, like dog hair. Touching is always not pleasing to the eye, but once there is an accident, Rob Lucci will definitely work hard for Jabra. Just like now, not to mention Kaku, the two have grown up since childhood, and they are among the CP9 people. The relationship between the two is the most iron, as you can see from Rob Lucci's maintenance of Kaku several times in the original book. Hey, angry, but don't worry, you will be like them soon. Crocodile looked at Rob Lucci who was angry, but his tone became very gloating. Obviously, he had dominated the entire battlefield at this time, thinking that I have already won. But it is a pity that sometimes I am too proud when I have not completely killed the enemy, but it is very dangerous. Kaku, throw it out. Although Lu Chengkong's eyes were gloomy and cold, he did not lose his mind. He yelled at Kaku, who was about to become a human being, and at the same time used shaving and silencer to give a victory at this time. Crocodile, who looked like a man, shot at him. What? Crocodile instinctively felt that something was wrong, and a sense of danger suddenly rose in his heart, and immediately instinctively wanted to be elemental, but Khalifa, who had been lurking and hadn't shot, did. The Binding of Light. Khalifa suddenly used an aperture at the critical moment, and shot it at Crocodile's body at the speed of light, forming a halo tied to his body. The body that was supposed to be elemental was actually stuck. Cannot be elementalized. The terrifying ability of the Fruit of Light was finally gradually developed by Khalifa. 68-068 Crocodile defeats. Damn, does that woman have any strength after using such a powerful move? Why does the terrifying power of the Fruit of the Light exist in this world? It is simply destroying the balance of the devil fruit, damn it for me. Although the Binding of Light can block Crocodile's body that was originally going to be elemental, but Khalifa, who has used powerful abilities many times, has almost reached its limit. After all, the ability of the Fruit of Light is so abnormal, and the consumption is several times that of the ordinary Logia fruit, otherwise it will be true. Disrupted the balance of the world. Bang! Khalifa, who has reached the limit, is the shackle of light that can only barely block Crocodile's body for 1 second, but this short time is enough to change the outcome of a battle. Brush. Just when Crocodile opened the aperture on his body and was about to use elementalization, a lot of seawater poured on him, making his body unable to elementalize. If other Logia-capable people were drenched by these seawater when it arrives, it is absolutely peaceful. Continuing elementalization has no effect on combat effectiveness, but Crocodile is a rustling fruit, and the most powerful place is his weakness. The rustling fruit can absorb all the water in people. It is very powerful, but he is also afraid of water. Oops, how did these little devils know about this weakness? The sense of crisis in Crocodile's heart has grown bigger and bigger, and he has even smelled the smell of death that he hasn't smelled for many years. He shouted. Go to hell, Crocodile, Renkyaku, Tempest Kick Dragon's Wrath. The Renkyaku Tempest Kick that comes out at close range is the most powerful in Rokushiki, let alone Liu Chenkong's. Renkyaku Tempest Kick, the furious dragon bombed Crocodile directly, and the huge impact pushed him out. Crocodile didn't forget to let out a shrill scream while flying in the air. It was good that he didn't die immediately in the face of such a powerful attack after not exercising for many years. There was not much seawater on him, and he was quickly sucked up by him using the rustling fruit, and then when he was hit by Renkyaku Tempest Kick Dragon Fury, he was basically able to elementalize, so although he suffered a huge trauma, but he still did not die immediately. If you want to leave, today is your day of death. Liu Chenkong's attack was over, but Rob Lucci's had just arrived. The next time Rob Lucci was in a state of extreme anger, and his fighting power was raised to the extreme. A huge blue Oscar was kicked out of the air by him and flew towards Crocodile with incredible speed. Little devil, don't be complacent, even if you find out my weakness and hit me hard. If you want to kill me, Crocodile, it's still early for you, Sansiryu Sandune. Crocodile's face was ugly and terrifying. He never thought that he would be killed. A group of little devils who were so weaker than him calculated and even seriously injured, but it was not enough to kill him. At a critical moment, he turned the sand into a 3 sun and moon shape to block Rob Lucci's birds. At the same time, a storm began to roll up in the sky. Obviously, he was already preparing when he was hit. As expected, he was a strategist, and his mind was really meticulous. Take Jabra. Liu Chenkong's expression changed, and he laughed bitterly in his heart. He knew that he had lost the best chance to kill Crocodile, but he didn't care, because he had the confidence that he had been defeated by himself. Even if the enemy is stronger than himself now, he can only be defeated by himself when they meet again, so he resolutely chooses to retreat, and at the same time, the ground is about to be affected by the storm. Kaku kicked up and used shaving to retreat. Go. Damn, let him go. Rob Lucci roared in disgust, but in the end the reason in his heart calmed him down and lifted Jabra, who had been seriously injured and was about to pass out, and at the same time used Renkyaku Tempest Kick to attack him. He stepped back, and his eyes were full of unconcealed worries when he looked at Jabra. Obviously, he was very concerned about Jabra, who seemed to be wrong, just like the original Enies lobby. After the battle, Jabra could be seriously injured. Rob Lucci discarded the so-called dignity and face, and even put down his bad temper in the street to earn medical bills for him. This is just a way for them to enhance their relationship, just like Sanji, and Zoro of the Straw Hat Pirates. The two usually fight each other for trivial matters, and they are very concerned about whether the other party is not. It was pleasing to the eye, but when he met Bartholomew Kuma at Gecko Moria, he stood up without hesitation, only to be knocked unconscious by Zoro in the end. Otherwise it would definitely be Sanji who suffered Luffy's physical fatigue and injury. It's nothing, since he lost this time. Then next time we meet, when my strength becomes stronger, he will already lose. Liu Chenkong shook his head indifferently. His tone was full of confidence, and looked at on the other hand, the terrifyingly pale Khalifa. Liu Chenkong's tensed heart relaxed after seeing Khalifa hand him the look that he was okay. Let's go, the people around here are gone. Go back to the boat and stabilize Jabra's injury, and when Khalifa recovers, Jabra will be fine, and Kaku is even more afraid. Just throw him into the sea, it's alright. Liu Chenkong is a typical example of standing and talking without fear of back pain. Kaku, who was already scrawny like a 7-year-old, was suddenly fainted by Lu Chengkong's heartless words. Yeah, although Rob Lucci was full of unwillingness, he could only nod his head in the end. After all, Crocodile had already left. No matter how reluctant he was, he had no choice but to cure Jabra first. Under the full speed of the road, Lu Chengkong and the others quickly returned to the boat by the sea, and Rob Lucci immediately roared as soon as they got on the boat. Let the ship doctor get out. If he dies, then all of you will bury him with him. Rob Lucci's face was very cold, but his performance made Lu Chengkong nod secretly. What is the ultimate killing weapon? In fact, these are only for the enemy. The side that will be exposed will not be the case with any one Rob Lucci of CP9. Crazy-faced cat, don't look at Lao Su who can curse Lao Su to die now that he is injured. Even if you die, I will not die, Jabra said stubbornly with a weak and floating mouth. In fact, by looking at his eyes, he knew what was in his heart. Now he is very moved, but as a sinister and spicy wolf, he will not put it on the face. Really? Then you won't die and show me. Rob Lucci didn't know what Jabra was thinking, and when he saw Jabra's appearance at this time, his tone was not so cold, and surprisingly he didn't compete with Jabra. Instead, he followed his words. 69069 You don't need to choose a place to sleep. At this time, Lu Chengkong and others, who had already driven back to the Marine headquarters, were completely unaware that there was another scene on Crocodile's side. The damn fruit of light is actually so perverted. Only this strength can prevent the elementalization, and the ability to destroy Logia can be developed if it is developed. If this woman is allowed to develop, then Shichibukai and the 4 emperors who have the ability to use the fruit are not dead. It's troublesome now. Crocodile watched the doctor in front of him heal himself in the basement of Alabasta, but his heart became active. You little bastards let my crocodile suffer this kind of damage. It's just a shame. You wait for me. When my injury recovers, I will kill you even if I give up my identity as Shichibukai. I don't believe it your world government can offend so many pirates and Shichibukai for one woman. Crocodile thought very resentfully, and at the same time, one after another of poisonous schemes continued to form in his heart. When I get the ancient weapons, whether you are Marine or the world government, you can only bow down to me Crocodile. Crocodile couldn't help but think of the ancient weapons in his mind to conquer one country after another. Whether it was the 4 emperors or the revolutionary army, the world government couldn't help laughing wildly at the sight of its own avatar. This proud guy didn't realize the reason why he lost. Not only because Lu Chengkong is familiar with his weaknesses, but also because of the double restraint of Khalifa's fruit of light, and more importantly, his body is so poor that without the ability of the fruit, his strength is almost the same as that of an ordinary pirate. The core factor of his defeat was that he was too arrogant, and he didn't take Lu Chengkong and others seriously at all, completely thinking that his failure was only the reason why the other party knew his weakness and the fruit of light, otherwise they would definitely die. In fact, if Crocodile regards Lu Chengkong and others as strong opponents from the beginning, and fights seriously, if he exerts all his strength at the beginning, even if the fruit of light is strong, at this time, the ability of the fruit of Khalifa cannot defeat Crocodile at all. As long as he is careful to hide using a wide range of abilities on the side, Lu Chengkong and the others are sure to die. At this time, he is basically the same as the mistake he made when facing Luffy in the original book. Marine headquarters, the marshal's office was crowded with people at this time. Marshal Sengoku, Vice Admiral and Chief of Staff Crane, Marine hero Garp, and the 3 admirals were all surrounded here, except for the heartless Garp. It was Kuzan who also showed a rare seriousness, and Akainu even had a murderous look on his face. If it wasn't for Kizaru and Kuzan holding him down, maybe this guy would have exploded. I really didn't expect that. I originally planned to get rid of Lu Chengkong and Khalifa through Crocodile, the guy who dared to fight ancient weapons, and then let that adult's anger transfer to Crocodile. We will take action to get rid of Crocodile at that time. I can gain that lord's favor, but I didn't expect Lu Chengkong to actually defeat Crocodile and even almost kill him. Marshal Sengoku said with a headache at this moment. These are not important. The most important thing is that the woman named Khalifa actually has the top fruit ability in Logia, the fruit of light, and now it can be basically determined. These two people are definitely valued by the adult, otherwise, there is absolutely no way that their strength will bear such a strong fruit, but this man disturbs me more than Khalifa. Quote. Chief of Staff He, as the Chief of Staff, can enter this kind of meeting as Vice Admiral, and you can see that he is not simple. Seeing the light of wisdom in her eyes, that is, only a wise man who has devised a strategy to win 1,000 miles can see through everything. Strong analytical skills, even Marshal Sengoku cannot ignore her opinion. What, the fruit of light is okay to say, this kid is just a user of Rokushiki, and the Taoist value is only 2,000, how powerful can it be? Akainu, who once knelt down to Lu Chengkong, said with disdain first. His eyes were full of contempt for Lu Chengkong. Akainu, if you still look at him with this kind of vision, then one day you will die in his hands. You think it will be so easy for someone who can be seen by that adult, since Khalifa has the fruit of light, then you think this man will not have a strong fruit ability. Crane reprimanded Admiral Akainu without giving any face at all. Akainu's face immediately flushed red. Obviously his emotions had affected his judgment. Otherwise he would never have said such an idiot. Thinking about it and knowing that one has bright fruits, then will it be bad to be with her? It's more terrifying than Khalifa. It's true that the fruit of light is very powerful, but at least we know that even if we encounter any emergencies, we can have a targeted strategy, but this kid has been hiding himself so far. Ability not to let us know. Don't tell me you don't know what that means. Crane said without giving Akainu a chance to continue. You mean that this kid didn't trust us from the very beginning when he saw us, and even said he was guarding us, so that he could keep a whole card when he left Marine. It was really scary. At that time, he seemed to be only 6 years old. It's terrifying to have such a scheming. If this child is immortal, he will be a terrifying existence in the future. Sengoku also realized the seriousness of the matter and his face was very ugly. It's useless to say this now. We can only see one step at a time. Compared with these, I think the most important thing is the attitude of the adult. We just don't know what her attitude is, otherwise we don't have to do that. Passive. Kuzan thought for a while and said his opinion lazily. Continue to spy on him, but you must not let him find out. It's better to find out if he has eaten devil fruit, or know his fruit ability. Sengoku took out a phone bug and instructed to go on. And then they had to break up the meeting. Do their own thing. Akainu, I hope you calm down and don't lose everything in Marine because of your impulsiveness. Now he is still a member of Marine, at least on the surface, as long as he is still Marine, you can't mess around. Sengoku said and when Akainu was about to leave, he suddenly opened his mouth and said, Akainu's temper he was very worried that he would mess up. I know what to do. Akainu growled through gritted teeth. And even left the marshal's office. This guy is still so irritable. Garp, why don't you talk all the time? Sengoku first let out a helpless sigh, and then he was a little surprised why Garp didn't speak anymore, so he looked over and suddenly saw something that made his eyes hot in one scene. The famous hero Garp actually fell asleep in such an important meeting. Bastard Garp, don't you know that this is the marshal's office? It's fine if you don't speak at such an important meeting. And you're still sleeping. I think you're going against me on purpose. A terrifying roar shook the world in an instant. The sound came from the marshal's office, and the sound was so loud that it spread throughout the entire Marine headquarters, causing some Marines to tremble and think that something major had happened. 7070 Boa Hancock. It's on the shelves on Thursday, that is, tomorrow, please support it a lot. By the way, from tomorrow to Sunday this week, that is, at least 5 updates a day for 4 consecutive days, everyone will do your best. Jabra, I thought you were dead, but I didn't expect you to recover so quickly. It's a miracle, let's go. Fukuro Otanashi, a small island not far from Eni's lobby, looked at the bandages all over his body. Jabra said softly. Go away, I won't die if you die. I'm very strong. How could a small Shichibukai kill me? Jabra looked a little embarrassed. After all, he didn't do much in this battle, but instead the first one was knocked down by K. It was a shame. It turns out that the wound on Jabra's body came from the wound, but it was hit by Crocodile's desert diamond sword, so how did they survive in the original book? Lu Chenkong stood aside and looked at Jabra's belly. The wound thought strangely. Why are you so silent, Kaku, isn't it like you? Lu Chenkong suddenly realized that Kaku, who was on the side, rarely spoke, so he couldn't help but walk over and asked. Hey, it's hard to say. Kaku said with a deep look as if there was something unspeakable. Ah, I understand, it's hard to say a few words, so you can say a few more words. I think you can explain a few words clearly. Lu Chenkong also pretended to be ignorant of the world and asked. Puff. Hearing Lu Chenkong's words, everyone present couldn't help laughing, especially Kaku, who was still pretending to be deep just now, looked very strange like a duck pinched by his neck. Don't look at me like that, I'll be very shy. Lu Chenkong turned around and said as if I was shy and embarrassed. Vomit. Except for the people present after Khalifa who almost didn't spit it out, even Rob Lucci's facial paralysis had his Adam's apple rolling up and down. Obviously, he was not much better. No, I also want to collect the money. Lu Chenkong picked up the poster that fell from the sky and looked at the seagulls who had not left. He was a little speechless, but he was still not so bored as Nami for a little bit. Qian and a seagull argued and bargained, took out a Bailey from his pocket and threw it on it. The face value of this Bailey was enough to buy hundreds of such posters. The seagull immediately glanced at Lu Chenkong with a grateful expression. Then it flapped its wings and flew away. These seagulls are hard enough. The whole sea is flying around, especially the seagulls in the Great Waterway have to deliver newspapers in the face of their own harsh environment and weather. If you can help, please help. Lu Chenkong said with a little sigh, for the life in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, what he admires most is not the strong, but the seagulls who are unknown and unnoticed, so he will never give money to seagulls because of their strength, but every time is to give 100 times as much Bailey. It is also because of this that Lu Chenkong and these seagulls who have met have a good relationship. He can receive any posters first. Obviously, these seagulls who know themselves have told other similar things about themselves. Otherwise, it will not be so effective. No, she actually came out, and she got a bounty of 80 million berry at one time, and this is the most chaotic era where pirates are constantly emerging. There is no one who can get such a bounty at one time, and now it actually appears. If Hancock was born in the Luffy era, it might have exceeded 100 million at a time. Lu Chenkong looked at Boyan Hancock, Esme Yan like a flower on the poster, a high-altitude queen who ignored all life. Immediately in my heart, I thought of the lowly from 7 years ago, but a big change has taken place in comparison. What's wrong? I'm so fascinated, Is it her? Wow, she has changed a lot, such a beautiful woman. Although I knew she was beautiful when I saw her before, I didn't expect that she would be beautiful enough when she grew up. Upside down all beings. Khalifa on the side saw the strange expression on Lu Chenkong's face looking at this poster, so he couldn't help but walked over and looked down, and instantly remembered who this woman who has changed a lot was. Yeah, she is terrifyingly strong now. At the age of 19, she can already use the three-color hockey very skillfully. I think she will soon become Shichibukai with her strength. With her strength at this time, she is in Shichibukai. Definitely in the top 3, Crocodile is sure to die if she meets her. Quote. Lu Chenkong remembered the Boa Hancock with hockey soaring to the sky in the original book. If she didn't make a move, she would be earth-shattering every time she made a move. Because of her own influence, she had no psychological shadows like Khalifa, but had a huge power to become stronger and a strong force. The strength of the two women in the heart of the writer is countless times stronger than the original. This is true of Khalifa, and the same is true of Boa Hancock. While seeing this poster of Boa Hancock, Lu Chenkong also remembered a promise he made to her. When she was famous, it was when she went to find her. The corners of his mouth couldn't help evoking a happy arc. She's really beautiful, will she fight with me? Maybe it's the influence of eating the fruit of light, and Lu Qingkong's moisturizing Khalifa is much more than the original Mei Yan. A beauty with two extremely contradictory temperaments. Just her back or her temperament is enough to make people fall under her pomegranate skirt, but Khalifa, who was very confident in herself at this moment, saw Boa Hancock's appearance after that. I felt a little less confident. Don't think about it, be confident in yourself. In my heart, you are as beautiful as her, and in fact you are. Lu Qingkong looked at Khalifa with a nervous and worried expression, but he didn't know what she was thinking. He immediately hugged her in his arms and comforted her a little funny. What Lu Qingkong said is also true. Khalifa is more beautiful than the original book, although there is still a little difference in appearance compared to Boa Hancock, but it is also a stunning stunner who turns all living beings upside down, plus she is in Lu Qingkong's heart. Unique existence. Even if Boa Hancock is 10 times more beautiful in beauty, it can't be changed. I've thought about it too much, but she's really beautiful. Khalifa's worries disappeared when she saw Lu Qingkong's eyes full of unconcealed love and his sincere words. His mouth was still involuntarily admiring. Her beauty is unique, but so are you. There is no need to belittle yourself. You are you, she is her. There is no need to compare your weaknesses with others' strengths. You also have advantages that she can't match, such as you will give me. When Lu Qingkong said this, he deliberately said some secret things, which immediately made Khalifa blushed. In the end, he couldn't hold back the shyness in his heart and threw himself into Lu Qingkong's arms. After hearing Lu Qingkong's words, she didn't say anything. While thinking wildly, she also understood that although she was beautiful, she was invincible and incomparable in Lu Qingkong's heart. 71071 Lucci changes. Don't say it. Don't say anything shameful. I won't do it for you if you say it again. Khalifa covered her ears and buried her small head in Lu Qingkong's arms and said in a muffled voice. In fact, Lu Qingkong's size and stamina are really too perverted. Even if Khalifa uses the fruit of light to continuously treat his body for a long time, it will be useless, so Lu Qingkong's tinkering and Khalifa think that as Lu Qingkong the wife must satisfy her idea. With the double support of Khalifa's self-esteem, she gave up her shyness and began to serve Lu Qingkong's dragon with her red lips every night. Now when Lu Qingkong mentions it, of course she can't help it. Get shy. Jabra is pretty much better now. I didn't expect that they haven't seen their strength improve so much in a few months, especially Fukuro, who has improved so quickly despite healthy competition. It seems that in the future, the Straw Hat Pirates will face they are enough. Lu Qingkong thought to himself, he knew the character of the Empress very well from the original book. If he didn't go to her, that guy would definitely kill the Marine headquarters at all costs. Khalifa, let's go. It's time to honor Hancock's promise, otherwise she will rush to Marine headquarters desperately, and it will be troublesome then. I think you miss her very much. Lu Qingkong looked to the side. Khalifa said with a chuckle. Yeah, Khalifa is now relieved. No longer worried that Lu Qingkong will threaten her position because of Boa Hancock's reason being troubled by these feelings. These thoughts have been suppressed. Now that there is no emotional troubles, the thoughts in my heart suddenly burst out. Lucci, I have something to leave for a while. If the mission from the world government comes down, you can discuss with Kaku and Jabra, but I hope you remember that if the mission fails, you can come again. If you die, then it's really gone. Lu Qingkong said with a serious face. Rob Lucci nodded equally seriously when he heard the words. At this time, because of Lu Qingkong's words, he was a little awake. He didn't blindly trust the world government. He has learned to look at the world government with a scrutiny. So once he threatens the CP9 members, Rob Lucci will never do it. Then everyone, see you for a while. Listening to Lu Qingkong's voice, it seemed a little ethereal, as if he was going to be away for a long time, which was actually the case, because Lu Qingkong not only went to Boa Hancock this time, but also to learn hockey. After he experienced the battle with Shichibukai Crocodile, he found that he was too passive when facing the Fruit of Logia. If it wasn't for the restraint of the Fruit of Light of Khalifa, he and others would be considered too scheming. How could Crocodile not? It is impossible to win even in the eyes of yourself and others. So he knew it was time for him to learn hockey. He always had a feeling before that Rokushiki seemed to have some kind of flaw, and now he found more than one flaw in Rokushiki, because he had already discovered the first flaw, which was lack of the style of using haki. People who use Rokushiki perfectly can face any strong person except Logia, but when facing Logia, they are very passive, so Lu Chenggong feels that it is time for him to develop the original book that does not exist in it. Or an ability other than Rokushiki that didn't appear. Although Haki knew about it in his previous life, there was no specific method for cultivation, so when he saw Boa Hancock's bounty, he immediately thought of two places. The other place on Amazon Lily Island was Sky Island, and Amazon Lily Island was not to mention. All Lu Chenggong knows is the whole world of One Piece, King of Pirates. That is, only Amazon Island has a very complete haki cultivation method, whether it is observation haki, armament or conqueror, so he knows that he wants to. You have to go to this place to learn haki, because Marine will never teach him. The second place is Sky Island. There are not many people who can use haki, but there are some people who can use observation haki. In addition to God, Enel, there are also the 4 priests and a little girl who knows the mind. As for Enel's heart net, it is even more advanced. The first 4 priests and the little girl's heart outline is equal to the shaved Lu Chenggong when he was a child. They are all half-finished products, and they are not really observation haki. Only the level of Enel is the real observation haki, and it is the kind of strong pervert. Since there are so many people in that place with this ability, of course he has to see it, and the oxygen above the Wanli High control is extremely lacking. The place is a good training place. How could Lu Chenggong miss it? Well, I don't think the 2 of them will come back for a while. He has a feeling that the 2 of them will leave here one day, and the speed of their strength improvement, I think when they come back here it will be stronger, and if we don't hold on tighter, the distance will become wider and wider. Rob Lucci said to the people around him immediately after seeing Lu Chenggong and Khalifa out of his sight. Lucci, don't worry, I will definitely surprise them when they come back. He is not the only one who will become stronger, in the words of Chenggong. Kaku said confidently, but unfortunately he hasn't. After a while of confidence, the complexion went down. But Kaku, did your hemorrhoids heal so quickly? Will such a fierce battle cast a shadow on the hemorrhoids? Let's go. Otonashi Fukuro suddenly opened the zipper on his mouth and said softly. Asshole, I've said many times that I'm not hemorrhoids. And even hemorrhoids were more than 7 years ago, and all the hemorrhoids are already healed. What are you talking about? Aren't you trying to get along with me? Kaku's face was blue and purple, and he looked at the strange eyes when people around him looked at him, especially Jabra, who was already laughing like no one else, and immediately asked Kaku to chase Fukuro to fight. Maybe you're right, their lives are the most important. Rob Lucci stood aside and looked at everyone in CP9 with a happy smile on his face. He couldn't help but feel better, and thought to himself. Road. What? You said those 2 guys left. Do you know where they went? When Sengoku knew that Lu Chenggong and Khalifa had left, in the office of the Marine Headquarters Marshal, he immediately took all Admiral and Garp, Crane call out. Come over to discuss strategies. I don't know, because the 2 of them have a good relationship with the other members of CP9, so we didn't ask the people from CP9 in order not to panic, so we still can't find out where they are. The words made Sengoku's face very ugly. 72072 Hancock's wisdom, on the shelf, everyone stand up. I think I know where the 2 of them went. Crane said suddenly. Everyone's eyes were focused on her for a moment, even Kaku. Vivi opened his closed eyelids. The 2 of them should have seen this little girl's reward, so he went to find her. Crane said while laying down the reward in front of Sengoku, beautiful, powerful, noble, and cold. The appearance of Boa Hancock appeared in front of everyone. She, Kizaru, who didn't go to Sabayati Archipelago, said blankly, but Akainu's face turned blue, because he remembered clearly that he knelt down to this woman when he was a child, which was a shame for him. You didn't go to Sabayati Archipelago. I don't know, there were 5 people who were with Lu Chenggong at the beginning, but I now guess that only 3 were selected by the adult, and the other 2 were just the sisters of this woman, who were kidnapped. Follow them along the way. Crane's eyes were filled with the light of wisdom, and he eloquently analyzed. No, it's troublesome now. Sengoku, Akainu, Kizaru, Kuzan, and even Garp opened their eyes and exclaimed. With that man's head, he absolutely refused to find his own shortcomings after facing Crocodile. After he went to Boa Hancock, he absolutely knew about Haki. This woman is the owner of Conqueror Haki and has the qualifications of a king, so Lu Chengkong and Khalifa will definitely not bad. Even Haki, who is probably the chosen one among millions of people, is someone who has the aptitude of king above people. Sengoku's face is now ugly and scary. He knew very well that the relationship between Lu Chengkong and the three of them was absolutely good, but he never thought that Boa Hancock was actually the queen of Amazon Lily Island. Before, he had always focused on Lu Chengkong and Khalifa and ignored it for a while. With the attention to Boa Hancock, and Boa Hancock has not been very low-key all the time, now it is a sensation when it comes out. In this extremely chaotic era, he was able to get a bounty of 80 million berry for the first time, and he was also the owner of Conqueror Haki. If Lu Chengkong was asked to find her, based on their relationship, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa would definitely know regarding the Haki thing. When the time comes to learn the use of Haki and their growth rate, even Marine Admiral will no longer be afraid, and it will be uncontrollable at that time. Crane, what do you think we should do? Sengoku's face changed constantly, and the look that was a little obscene became even more ugly and unsightly. What else can I do? Don't you want to send Admiral to kill the two of them? The only thing you can do now is to repair the relationship between the two, and at the same time bless the two of them that they are not the owners of Conqueror Haki, or that they will not learn Haki. The Crane's voice was also bitter. It was the first time in many years that Marine was so useless. Even in the face of Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion and others, Marine has never been in such a situation, but now how could they be in a good mood for the few weak Lu Chengkong people who were restrained everywhere? Hey, it's really passive. Sengoku was silent for a long time and finally he could only hold back such a sentence. In the end, it was nothing like before, but he still kept a bit of luck in his heart, and hoped that it was really like what the Crane said. They don't have the qualifications of kings, or they can't learn Haki. It's normal for him to think so. The world of One Piece, King of Pirates, is so big and there are so many people, but how many can learn Haki? How many strong people can use Haki? There are a few who have the aptitude of a king and can grow up smoothly and learn how to use Conqueror, so it is normal for him to have this fluke in his heart. After all, Haki is not so easy to learn, especially those with the aptitude of kings. It is more difficult for these people to learn Haki. It can be said that the higher the level of Haki, the more difficult it is to learn. It is no less difficult to be familiar with using Conqueror. God, how many people can achieve the level of Roger, Whitebeard, and Golden Lion? Even Luffy, who is under the full teaching of Hades 2 years later, is only able to release Haki initially. Facing real powerhouses such as Admiral level still has no significant effect. Not to mention the extremely depressed Sengoku at this time. The Snake Princess who just returned to the Amazon Lily Island from the expedition at this time is also about to become the Pirate Queen, and the glamorous tyrant Boa Hancock is very excited to see the bounty he bought from the seagull. After so many years, after waiting for so long, she kept exercising and desperately improving her strength. In order to learn how to use Conqueror, she almost died several times because of the promise she made at the beginning. Now she has done it, and what she is waiting for is his arrival. Is he coming? I haven't seen him for so many years. I don't know how he is now. Why hasn't he come for so long? My bounty has been out for about a month. Did something happen to him or he was killed by Marine or a pirate? Boa Hancock's complexion began to change drastically when he thought of this, making Boa Santa Sonia and Boa Marigold, who had become very huge, a little speechless when they saw it. After so many years, the eldest sister still misses the man who has only known each other for a day, but although they don't care on the surface, the two of them actually remember the events of that night very clearly. They really can't imagine how the three sisters would be, so they don't have much resentment that their eldest sister, whom they respect and love the most, will miss a man so much. Back in the palace of Amazon Lily Island, Boa Hancock, who was leaning on the bed with a graceful posture, his face changed constantly, sometimes sweet, sometimes happy, sometimes looking forward, sometimes worried, sometimes angry, and let Gu Luoli on the side beat saw. 9 Snake Island. There was a very bad premonition in the heart of the former emperor of the previous generation. The aptitude of Snake Princess is the best among the queens of all dynasties. More importantly, the current Snake Princess has a strong heart, and the heart that desires to become stronger is more powerful. It is not found in the original work, so whether it is aptitude, mood, or luck, Snake Princess is simply the most perfect queen, so I don't want Snake Princess to have any bad situation. Did she also have that disease? Is it troublesome now? As far as I know, she has never had sex with any man, and she is so arrogant that any man can get into her eyes. Is it because Boa Sandersonia has no intention of it before? The person mentioned in Gu Meliusa thought of this, and she actually had a shocking killing intent towards Lu Chengkong. He would never allow a perfect queen like Boa Hancock to have any flaws, and she would not allow her to die in lovesickness. So the land had killing intent towards Lu Chengkong, but unfortunately, Boa Hancock, who was already powerful now, immediately discovered the change in Gloriosa. 73073 Challenge the Windless Belt. What do you want to do? You want to kill him and say how on earth did you know of his existence? Boa Hancock's position as an empress is not just based on her beauty and strength. Her kingship is not that simple. Gu Luo, after she saw the changes in Li Yusa, she actually guessed Guluoli Yusa's thoughts clearly in an instant. Although the gap between anime and reality is really big, anime infinitely magnifies the good side, infinitely shrinks the bad side, infinitely strengthens the protagonist, and completes the supporting role to set off the existence of the protagonist, but in the real world, there is no such thing as the so-called supporting roles, and protagonists can only be said of the strong and the weak. At least the original book does not reflect the wisdom of Boa Hancock as the queen, but think about it, if Boa Hancock is so successful, then she is the protagonist instead of Luffy. So simple. Sheji, you have to know that you are the queen of 9 Snake Island, and everything you do is related to the future of 9 Snake Island. Gu Luoli can usually give in when it comes to 9 Snake Island, but once it is related to 9 Snake Island, the absolute position is absolutely very firm. So what? I only know that if it weren't for him, I would not be an empress but a slave of Tenryubito. When I needed help most, it was not the people from 9 Snake Island who came to save me, nor you, the former emperor. Bring someone to save me. Empress decides to do what no one can stop, let alone you outdated emperor. Boa Hancock said, but there was no face for Glorori to beat Saw. At this time, she was more noble, arrogant, and domineering than the original book. In the original book, it was because of Tenryubito's reasons and influence that she was arrogant and liked to dominate others, so her arrogance in the original book had a feeling of lack of confidence. They just didn't notice it. But the current Snake Girl is not comparable to the original Snake Girl, but she is a perfect powerhouse, without any flaws in her mood. She speaks with an innate arrogance and domineering, just like a supreme emperor. The emperor is generally, and absolutely does not allow others to disobey her, so she is extremely domineering when she speaks at this time, and she is full of confidence, no matter who she is facing. Glorori's face changed after beating Saw, and she wanted to say something, but she has known Boa Hancock's temper for so many years. Once she gets angry, no one can stop it, and she also knows that Boa Hancock is right. After she was captured, 9 Snake Island did not send anyone to save them, and the relationship between the 3 sisters and Lily Island caused a crack, and this huge crack is not so easy to mend. HMPH, if he has anything, I want all of you to bury him with him. Boa Hancock said in an icy biting tone, at the same time as if to show how determined he was. He even used Conqueror Haki. The powerful Haki instantly shrouded the hole in the room. The pressure caused by the terrifying aura, even the former Emperor Gloriosa changed his face. She did not expect that man to have such a high status in Boa Hancock's heart, so high that she could completely give up the 9 snakes. Everything about the island. Just when Boa Hancock broke out Conqueror hockey because of Lu Chengkong's affairs, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa were on the Marine's ship and came to the windless belt of Nine Snake Island, but facing the sea in front of him, countless huge shadows appeared on Lu Chengkong and others. Can only stop. Khalifa, it seems that we can only use Moonstep to pass. Lu Chengkong looked at the sea in front of him, and there were even a few sea kings that were relatively close to him and others. Immediately use Renkyaku Tempest Kick to kill these sea kings. The class has been wiped out. The current Lu Chengkong is not comparable to the strength when he went to find Juliana before. With one move, Renkyaku Tempest Kick killed a few sea kings in an instant, and even cut the sea. Although our strength is much stronger than before, we don't know how far the windless belt is from Lily Island. If we stop halfway, it will be very dangerous. Do you really want to go? Why don't we find a way to notify the Hancock inside, let her come out and save us? Although Khalifa misses Boa Hancock very much, it is nothing compared to Lu Chengkong's safety. The strength of our old friends has far surpassed us. It would be too embarrassing if we couldn't even overcome this obstacle, and this is an opportunity for us. Back then, under the moon step, my fruit ability broke through. Now, I already had a flash of light when I fought with Kigo Kettle. I didn't know when it was time before, but now I know, that is the return of life, and I want to understand life under the oppression of external pressure. Return it. Lu Chengkong said this in a very firm tone, which made Khalifa nod helplessly. And don't forget that we are no longer what we used to be. In addition to Rokushiki, we also have fruit ability. Only under great pressure will our strength increase rapidly. This time you don't use the speed of light to move. We can definitely succeed. We can even defeat Shichibukai. Are we still afraid of a windless belt? Lu Chengkong said arrogantly, and immediately infected Khalifa beside him. She was also worried and confused, concerned about Lu Chengkong's safety. She lost her usual calmness and wisdom. Okay, nothing can stop us from joining forces as husband and wife. Khalifa said with a happy and determined face, holding Lu Chengkong's left hand. That's right, let's go. Without a word, Lu Chengkong stepped on the air and floated into the sky with his powerful explosive foot force. Khalifa on one side did the same, closely following Lu Chengkong's side, stepping over with Moon Step. The two of them are the number one in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Reversal mirror image. Lu Chengkong stretched out his hand and tapped on Khalifa's body. His eyes twinkled. One mirror image was Khalifa, the other was himself at the same time, and he also used Moonstep to follow him. By the way, I forgot, let's talk about the reversal and mirror image of the mirror image fruit. There are also restrictions. If you want to reverse the mirror image of the opponent's strength must not exceed twice your own. Otherwise, the mirror image created will not have the strength of the opponent's body, but the strength of the own body. However, the fruit ability can still be used, which is the limitation of reversal and mirror image. Once it exceeds twice, then the object of the percentage of strength of the reversed mirror image will change from the strength of the other party to the percentage of own strength. The stronger the ability, the more limited it is. This is normal, otherwise Lu Chengkong touched Whitebeard and reversed a Whitebeard's mirror image. Isn't that invincible? Khalifa, you don't need to use your fruit of light on me, use it on yourself. Now we are breaking through separately. You have to break through the inherent realm of the fruit of light. I want to understand the return of life, don't worry about me. Lu Chengkong finished talking to Khalifa immediately after entering the battle state. That mysterious feeling came again, and at the same time Lu Chengkong's eyes had turned pitch black, and for a moment Lu Chengkong felt as if he had entered an ethereal state. 74074 Breakthrough. This state is really strange. At this time, Lu Chengkong only felt that his spirit covered all parts of the body, organs, and even cells, as if he could control every part of his body, even cells, as long as his thoughts moved. Become a member's own weapon. It's this feeling, life is returned, and you have complete control over every part of your body, from organs to small cells. Every place can be turned into a weapon to use Rokushiki, and even a single hair can become as hard as iron. The weapon. Lu Chengkong's expression remained the same, giving people a feeling of loneliness, and loneliness as if the sky were falling apart, as if at this moment even the sky was falling apart and the earth could not change the color of his eyes. I finally understand the secret of returning life. This is no longer a simple inner body cultivation. Just like hockey, it is already a spiritual cultivation, dispersing one's spiritual consciousness to the cells, internal organs, hair, toenails of the whole body. The hair on the pores can all be manipulated freely. Just imagine how terrifying the hair on the whole body can be. Even the hair on the pores can become weapons. Those who use the return of life in the original work only realize the return of life of the semi-finished product, and even the return of life the lowest level has not been reached, otherwise the strength is definitely not only that. Quote. For a moment, Lu Chengkong only felt that an invisible door was open to him, and there was endless profound knowledge that could make him stronger. It was just waiting for him to go in and dig and integrate into one. Although it is very difficult to comprehend the return of life, even if I know the methods and mysteries now, I have only reached the most preliminary level, distributing my spiritual consciousness to every part of the surface of my body, and everything in the internal organs of the body cannot be reached at all. Let alone small cells. If I can control cells, how strong my body will be. The premise to understand the return of life is to have a strong enough physique and will. Of course, the premise is to have a strong spiritual cultivation. Because of the long-term use of fruit ability, the spiritual power is also more and more powerful. When you exercise to a strong point, it will be easier to comprehend if you are exercising. Lu Chengkong thought to himself. Khalifa, let's go. Lu Chengkong's eyes were full of self-confidence, which made Khalifa on the side happy. She knew that Lu Chengkong should have realized the return of life, otherwise he would never show this way, and at the same time, a feeling of joy rose in his heart. This kind of competitive heart, the whole body immediately burst out with golden yellow and holy light, like the ancient saints, aloof and inviolable. Return of life, Kami-e martial arts. Lu Chengkong immediately used the same ability as the Kami-e martial arts used in Robluchi's original work. Not only that, the Kami-e martial arts Lu Chengkong used was more powerful than Robluchi's. Subtle, the speed of improvement is even greater, because what he needs now is to save physical strength and increase speed, and strength does not need to be strengthened. Is this the return of life? Khalifa on the side did not have Lu Chengkong's ability to comprehend anything in such a strange state that her eyes became pitch black, so she realized that she was more sleepy than Lu Chengkong. Yes, but it may be because of the fruit of light. Khalifa's aptitude seems to have become better than before. Her aptitude was very good before, but it is still a little worse than Robluchi. Yes, but now it is not only not worse than Robluchi, but even better. So in the end, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa can only attribute these credits to the fruit of light. In fact, it is the same. The divine power of light has washed Khalifa's entire body and even his spiritual soul. Ability development and improving Khalifa's aptitude will get better and better, and the soul and body will become more and more pure. Of course, it is 1,000 miles in a day to practice. It is far from what it used to be. It can be said that Khalifa's aptitude and cultivation speed are accelerated with the improvement of the ability of the fruit of light. And it is this special ability that makes the mysterious girl continue to appreciate it. Therefore, Khalifa sometimes finds that his body is covered with unknown black viscous substances. Those are the impurities in his body and soul that have been excluded by the power of light, but Khalifa himself does not know it, but time after a long time, she also discovered this mystery more often. After all, she is not a fool. I seem to be able to do it too. Khalifa saw Lu Chengkong's changes, and a sense of enlightenment suddenly rose in his heart, as if his brain was suddenly stimulated, and his potential was triggered, and the light on his body became even more intense. The dazzling and holy, Khalifa's body began to change. It became more slender and thinner than before, and the chest was full because the body became more slender, and the waist became more gigantic, as if it was going to burst at any time. Clothes broke through normally, and at the same time, the distance that had been opened a little bit quickly closed back. Although everyone has their own advantages and strengths, I have that unknown mysterious state, and Khalifa also has the bright fruit of continuous improvement of aptitude and cultivation speed. This is what Li Bai said about losing my talent. Will it be useful? Lu Chengkong thought about it for a while, and then he thought about these thoughts in the later stage, and his mind moved. Bathing light. Khalifa's mirror clone immediately used the ability to restore physical strength and eliminate physical fatigue on the main body, but unfortunately only 1/10 of the main body's effect. But even so, it should not be underestimated. The most important thing is this ability. The potential is terrifying. Don't look at the abnormal ability of reversal mirror image. The more powerful the ability consumption or restriction, the greater the time of existence of this reversal image mirror is only 1 minute. This is only after the ability of Lu Chengkong's fruit has been improved so much compared to both. With such an effect, if it was only in the past, it might exist for more than 10 seconds. Not only that, the consumption caused by the reversal and mirrored clones using their main body's ability is all supported by Lu Chengkong's main body, so the consumption of the clones summoned by this ability will be so great, and the time of existence will be like this. The shortness is exactly the same. Although Khalifa's clone can continue to use this ability on himself, the premise is that Lu Chengkong's mental power can support the required consumption, otherwise this Khalifa clone can't use her body's fruit ability at all. But fortunately, the avatar of the mirror image and the mirror avatar of the main body summoned by Lu Chengkong also have one thing in common, that is, unlimited physical strength, which is very terrifying for the strong physical skills. It is very terrifying under the blessing of physical strength, so although Khalifa's clone cannot use her abilities infinitely, she can use her unique Rokushiki indefinitely. That is the so-called fly in the ointment. There is no perfect ability. As long as you continue to complement it with your own efforts, the ability of the fruit can eventually reach infinitely close to perfection. 75075 Margaret. Is that Nine Snake Island, or Amazon Lily Island? Although it is very big, it is like a small kingdom, and there are definitely some huge secrets hidden in it, just like hockey's cultivation method. Lu Chengkong continued to bathe the light. Although his head became heavier and heavier, his eyes were still full of energy, and there was no sign of exhaustion. This can fully reflect how strong his will is. Come on, the body is about to reach its limit. Lu Chengkong said to Khalifa, who was also similar to himself. Although he was very determined to withstand the fatigue of his body would collapse if he kept it like this for a long time. After all, his body is not like a rubber man, so he can only clench his silver teeth and increase the speed of Moon Step to the extreme for a moment, rushing towards the island ahead. The light of the bath restores me, my ability breaks through. Khalifa snorted coldly. The golden light, which had already become dull due to long-term use, seemed to be blessed by some kind of blessing. The dazzling, destructive rays of light, all the fatigue of the already very tired body seemed to be forcibly removed for a moment. The body returned to its heyday, the speed suddenly increased, and in an instant, it crossed the distance in the middle and came to the island of 9 snakes. Superior. I'm really exhausted, but the harvest is really huge. Lu Chengkong's face was ecstatic, although his physical strength had reached the limit. Now after landing, the huge pain from the muscles around his body made him grin, but compared to the harvest these are but trivial existence. Yeah, now I can be invincible even against Kigo Kettle in a short period of time, and if we join forces, we can even defeat him. Khalifa is also full of ecstasy and said that although in a one-on-one situation, he will lose to Kegokdal, but if he joins forces with Lu Chengkong and the ability of the mirror fruit to sneak attack, then defeating Kegokdal is definitely not the case. The problem, if it is to prove the battle, it can only remain undefeated in a short period of time at most, or even gain the upper hand, but it is difficult to escape a defeat after a long time. After all, the gap between frontal combat and sneak attack is very huge. Who are you? Why are you different from me? Is this the man Kikyo's sister said? It looks so strange. Just as Lu Chengkong and the two were recovering from the enormous physical strength, a young voice suddenly remembered that a loli who looked similar to Lu Chengkong came out, but of course it was not as good as Lu Chengkong in terms of development. At most, it is about the same as a 14 or 15-year-old girl. At this moment, this Lolita, who has the same golden hair as Khalifa, is looking at Lu Chengkong with a curious and scrutinizing look at the difference between Lu Chengkong and herself, and she is surprised when she speaks, but her appearance is very cute. You can already tell when you are a beautiful embryo at a young age, and when you grow up, you will definitely be a stunning stunner. Ah, Nine Snake Island is forbidden for all men to enter. Once found, they must be killed. Suddenly, Loli, who was like a little sheep just now, pulled out a sharp arrow from the quiver tied behind her thigh and pointed it towards Lu. Shooting from the sky, Khalifa didn't attack because she was a woman. Quick flash. Lu Chengkong's face changed. He already remembered who this Loli was. Margaret, in the original book, she helped Luffy a lot, and she was a very kind-hearted person, but if you underestimate him because of this, if you do, then you will be miserable. You must know that his arrows can only be dodged even if Luffy is not Haki. People who don't know Haki will die very badly. Boom. Sure enough, the place where Lu Chengkong was standing just now had a bomb blast. Although it was not as powerful as the original, it was possible to use Haki initially. It was indeed a Nine-Snake Island where all the people were soldiers. It is no wonder that there is no library in Boa. Before K became Shichibukai, the Marine headquarters did not come to capture this place. Everyone was a user of Haki. Even a strong attack would have to pay a huge price. It led to the comprehensive strength of Nine-Snake Island becoming stronger and stronger. Hiss tilde, Khalifa looked at this and couldn't help taking a breath. It wasn't the destructive power of this arrow that made her so out of shape. The destructive power caused by their Rokushiki fruit ability was more powerful than this, countless times bigger. What really surprised her was that at the moment just now, she actually had a feeling that if she was hit, the elementalization would be ineffective. She knew very well that this feeling was definitely not an illusion, but a real existence. Although, those who don't master Haki are not really high-end combat power, first-class powerhouses. Khalifa only believed Lu Chengkong's words at this moment. Haki's destructive power seems to be far less than that of many fruits. Especially Logia. But in the real battle, those with fruit abilities will undoubtedly lose in the face of Haki users. The more advanced the Haki practice is, the more terrifying the person is. You can see from Whitebeard. In the case of serious injury, he defeated Admiral-level Akainu in 2 attacks. If it is one-on-one, 3 Admiral is not a one-on-one enemy of Whitebeard. Khalifa, don't do it. I want to try Haki's ability. Personal experience is the best way to learn. Lu Chengkong looked at Khalifa, who was about to shoot, and said immediately, although he was very tired, but in a short time still recovering a certain amount of physical strength, and the other party's body training is not at home except Haki, so it is not a threat to himself. Yeah, Khalifa heard the words and nodded immediately. She also understood Lu Chengkong's thoughts, so she also stood aside, but her eyes were fixed on Lu Chengkong, thinking that she was planning if something happened to Lu Chengkong. She immediately took action. With the Fruit of Light, her body was not tired at all. Instead, she was mentally fatigued because of the repeated use of the fruit. Therefore, her strength did not decrease in any way. This is the horror of the Fruit of Light. Place. Other Logia fruits are at most both offensive and defensive, and there is also an elementalization for evasion, but Khalifa is both offensive and defensive at the same time: recovery, speed, durability, evasion, and movement. And it is precisely because of this that she is qualified to be praised by the mysterious girl. HMPH, don't underestimate me, I'm an elite warrior of Amazon Lily Island. Margaret suddenly felt that she was underestimated. Her small nose wrinkled, she snorted softly, and said delicately, but she was angry. The puffy look doesn't look fierce, and some are just cute. Really? Then you can show me your strength. Lu Chengkong also came and joined. This blonde loli is also a bit interesting, but the more important thing is her. 76-076. The audience is sluggish. A minute later, Lu Chengkong had already subdued the blonde loli, but he didn't do any harm to her, he just exhausted her physical strength. Lu Chengkong just shave, Kami-E and Moonstep rotating and moving around her. He didn't use any attack skills, but his eyes were focused on Hockey, who was watching Margaret, hoping to see some clues from her. It's a pity that Lu Chengkong, who has never used Hockey and has not awakened Hockey, has no clue at all except that he knows what Hockey is, until Margaret shoots all the arrows on her quiver. Only after that did Lu Chengkong stop. HMPH, can't you look at it? Margaret pouted and stomped her feet unhappily. Why do I look down on you? Lu Chengkong, who was a little annoyed at first, said a little strangely when he heard Margaret's words. It seems that he has never hurt you, right? You have it, otherwise why don't you attack me? You only know how to dodge, don't you look down on me? After all, the blonde loli is still young, not her 10 years later, and her tone is actually kind of coquettish. The taste is here. Okay, since you want me to attack you so much, then I'll attack you. Hearing this, Lu Chengkong's mouth corners VV raised, shaved and silenced instantly disappeared in place, before the blonde loli had time to react. In front of her, an index finger exuding a breath of death slid straight into her head. What's wrong, stupid? When Lu Chengkong's index finger was about to pierce Margaret's head, he stopped and just clicked on her little head, but it was the first time he was so close to death. Margaret, who was full of fear, finally had a layer of water mold on her beautiful big eyes, obviously looking like she was about to cry. Hey, it's very bad for you to be like this. I was hiding from you just now and you said that I looked down on you. Now I attack you and you cry again. Is this the strength of the elite warriors of Nine Snake Island? Lu Chengkong didn't have a good way to deal with the girl's crying, so in the end he could only provoke her. I didn't cry. You are not allowed to insult the soldiers of Nine Snake Island. I'm still young now. When I grow up, I will definitely beat you all over the place. But the effect is still very good. Margaret's tears evaporated immediately, and she stood up and said fiercely. Then I'll wait for you to hit me, but before that, you should take me to Hancock, the queen of your Nine Snake Island. Lu Chengkong waved his hand indifferently and said. What? You dare to call Lord Snakeji's real name directly? You are going to live, shut up. Margaret's pretty face changed. She was kind-hearted and knew that Lu Chengkong had been letting her just now. She didn't have any intention to hurt her. So based on the idea that you are good to me and I am good to you, Margaret jumped up and covered Lu Chengkong's mouth to prevent him from continuing to speak. At the same time, her small head he glanced around and found that no one was there before he breathed a sigh of relief, but this posture seemed very ambiguous. Okay, now you don't believe what I say, let's go, take me to see Hancock. Lu Chengkong knew that for the people of Nine Snake Island, there was no difference between men and women and no scruples, but it's not good to hold such a 14 or 15-year-old girl by Khalifa's side. After all, it's even worse when Hancock thinks he has any special hobbies, so Lu Chengkong's fans put Margaret from his body. Come down and let her lead the way. But, Margaret was still young after all. Lu Chengkong didn't do anything to her before, but made her a little girl with a purer mind than in the original book, and she knew it very well. Snakeji hates men very much, and if she takes this person who she likes to her, she will be doomed. Don't worry, since I dare to find her, there is my barrier, so don't worry, lead the way. Lu Chengkong smiled kindly. His tone was very easygoing, whether he was from the original book or from the original now. I love it from the bottom of my heart. Okay. In the end, Margaret could only nod her head, and she could only laugh bitterly in her heart. Can I still stop you if you are courting death? But although she thought so in her heart, she was also thinking about what she would do if Lord Snakeji really wanted to kill the man in front of her. Boa Hancock's castle, even though they had their own ideas. Ah, what is that, such a strange person? Margaret, how did you bring this strange person back? A very tall woman said to Margaret in front of her. He's a man, and he said he wanted Lord Snake. Margaret was indeed a good boy, she said truthfully. You bastard, do you know what you're talking about? Don't you know the taboo of Nine Snake Island? It's already a capital crime if you don't kill you when you meet a man, and now you're bringing him back. How many times do you want to die? As the captain the Kikyo said with a hateful expression. But he said he knew Lord Snake. Margaret's face was full of grievances after being reprimanded so harshly by the captain, and her voice became quieter. Didn't I tell you many times that humans outside are very cunning? Especially men, they are. Just when Kikyo was about to teach Margaret a lesson on the spot, Lu Chenghong had no choice but to come out and stop him. After all, the feeling of being ignored is not very good. Okay, don't scold her. I also know the taboos of Nine Snake Island, but if your Lord Snakeji wants to kill me later, just stand and watch. Lu Chenghong said nothing at all. Giving Kikyo time to break out, he immediately yelled at the very tall building ahead. Hancock, if you don't come out, your old friend will be beaten to death by your subordinates. Oh my god, he's tired of living. He actually dared to call Mrs. Sheji's real name in public. He really won. In an instant, the warriors of Nine Snake Island, who had come over and watched Lu Chenghong and others vigilantly with bows and arrows, they exclaimed as if the pot had exploded, and Kikyo was worried that the Snake Princess would blame Margaret in order to save Margaret's life, so she shot it immediately, but just pressed the button just when she was about to shoot. The scene made her stunned. Not only she, but also all the women on Nine Snake Island that she saw nearby were stunned. Damn, you dare to kill Empress' savior, are you tired of living? As soon as Lu Chenghong's voice came out, Boa Hancock's beautiful voice covered by Conqueror Haki immediately floated out from the castle, and the powerful aura passed by. Some weaker women were immediately suffocated and fainted. 77-077 Hancock reunited. Wearing a cheongsam, revealing a slender white leg, this beautiful leg alone is enough to make all men fall for it. Boa Hancock is indeed a comprehensive powerhouse, and his speed is terrifying. In the blink of an eye, even Lu Chenghong only felt in front of him. As soon as she spent it, she was already in front of her. Such a fast speed, such a strong explosive force, as expected of Shichibukai, this is the real first-class powerhouse. Lu Chenghong's eyes narrowed and he thought in surprise. Okay, Hancock, forget it. After all, I violated the rules of your Nine Snake Island. Let's forget about this. Lu Chenghong was also very moved when he saw Boa Hancock with awe-inspiring killing intent. After knowing each other for a day, Boa Hancock, who has been apart for many years, would behave like this because of his own words. It would be false to say that he was not moved. Hey, you are all gone. You are a member of the Nine Snakes Pirates from today. This is your reward for bringing your friends from Empress. Boa Hancock understood the origin of the matter under Lu Chenghong's explanation. Immediately afterwards, she showed a clear reward and punishment, and said to Margaret, who was standing on the side and was still in extreme shock. Ah, thank you Lord Snake. Hearing Boa Hancock's words, Margaret regained her senses in shock, and immediately said in a trembling and excited tone, and her eyes were full of eyes when she looked at Lu Chenghong. Unbelievable, she also thought that Lu Chenghong said it casually, but she didn't expect that he actually knew Lord Snakeji. And seeing how familiar and nostalgic looks on their faces, it was obvious that they had a very good relationship. Okay, little sister, this is the so-called good people have good rewards. I'm waiting for you to beat me. Lu Chenghong was very satisfied with Margaret's expression, he said with a smile, and then went to Boa Hancock's meeting with Khalifa. Led to her residence. Wow Margaret, you are amazing, you actually met a friend of Lord Snakeji. And you can join the Nine Snake Pirates and fight with Lord Snakeji at such a young age. I really envy me. Super long legs. After Boa Hancock left, she said with a look of envy and jealousy. Okay, this time, Margaret, you are lucky. I didn't expect that man to be a friend of Lord Snakeji and also a savior. If that person is lying to you, then you are really dead. Next time you want to be careful not to mess around. Kikyo saw that the scene was a little chaotic and that the women in front of her were a little eager to try, worried that they would bring people back in the future and immediately die. Oh Tilda, the long-legged girl and others immediately dismissed this idea. After all, although they are not in the world, it does not mean that they are stupid. Of course, they know that if the people this time are those fake films outside, then Margaret will definitely it's dead. It can only be said that Margaret is lucky, and these things can't be imitated. Where have you two been all these years? I've been looking for you since I became the queen, but I couldn't find you. Boa Hancock asked with an excited expression immediately after bringing Lu Chengkong to his room. We entered the CF9, a secret intelligence agency directly under the world government, for death training. Now that we have achieved something, we came to you after seeing your bounty. Lu Chengkong not only spoke with a tone like a spring breeze. For a time, the three of them felt as if they had returned to the time period when they were children many years ago. Although they had known each other for a short time, they had established a very strong and profound friendship. Yeah, I was also surprised when I saw your bounty. I didn't expect that the girl who was mentioned as a slave would actually become the queen of Nine Snake Island, and her strength became so powerful. Khalifa, he said without any scruples, if it was someone else, even the former emperor, Boa Hancock would immediately freak out. But the words came from Khalifa's mouth, but she turned a blind eye, as if the person who said it was not her, so that Jiyu Luoli beat Sa on the side and shouted that it was unfair. She just mentioned it accidentally and was beaten once. Now this woman said it face to face and was so direct that nothing happened. Morning. The concubine never thought that she would have the qualifications of a king and be able to use conqueror haki. These are not thanks to the haki cultivation method left by the emperors of Nine Snake Island, whether it is conqueror, armament, or observation. Haki has a very detailed training method, so I can improve so fast. Boa Hancock, who was supposed to call himself empress, couldn't say it in front of Lu Chengkong and the two, and finally he could only call himself a concubine. Congratulations to you, but this time I came to you to ask you for something other than a simple retelling of the past. Lu Chengkong said that Khalifa on the side became serious. After all, this matter is related to Nine Snake Island interests. Even if the relationship between Boa Hancock and them is good, they may not be able to agree. After all, Boa Hancock is not only their good friend but also the queen of Nine Snake Island. What's the matter? Don't be so serious, the concubine will help you all that she can do. Boa Hancock said with a little amusing. If she was seen by outsiders at this time, she would definitely fall into a sluggishness and even cause a big earthquake. Is this still their proud, noble, powerful and glamorous Lord Snake G? You also know that we entered CF9. Currently, we are all tools of the world government, but Khalifa and I are all pursuing freedom and have no interest in becoming a tool. But once I leave CF9, the traitors of the world government will pursue them with all their strength. Killed. You also know that the original identity can't be concealed for a long time. We didn't touch Marine's interests before, so Marine turned a blind eye to Khalifa's little actions, but once Marine's interests are involved, I think these illusory scruples may be them. Wouldn't mind sending Admiral to kill me and Khalifa directly. So I want you to teach us how to use haki, or even just awaken haki. Lu Chengkong said seriously. What did I think it was? These trivial matters, wait. Just when Boa Hancock agreed immediately, Garoli Kusa, who had not spoken, immediately refused. Haki's cultivation method is the secret of our Nine Snake Island, and it is absolutely not allowed to leak, so please come back. Jiyu Luoli beat Shui and refused. Shut up, Empress, now I'm the queen or you are the queen. Are you blocking what Empress is going to do? If you're wordy, I'll just leave Nine Snake Island. Boa Hancock's face darkened. He didn't expect the critical moment this guy actually ran out to make trouble. Didn't this make her humiliated in front of Lu Chengkong and Khalifa? Let me go, Sheji, you are the queen of Nine Snake Island. How can you do something harmful to Nine Snake Island? Let me go. It's a pity that Boa Hancock opened the window before she could finish speaking. Throwing it out, Boa Hancock even worried that she would come back too soon and used haki to push her further away. Okay, don't worry about it. It's fine when she doesn't speak. These little things are on my shoulders. By the way, how long are you going to stay here? Boa Hancock clapped his hands and said casually. Like this suddenly it made Lu Chengkong and Khalifa speechless. 78078 Pride. It can't be more than a year. If it takes too long, it will be very troublesome. That's what I plan to do. After I learn haki here, I will go back to Annie's lobby and then take a random mission and then go to Sky Island. Lu Chengkong was speechless. He still had to answer Boa Hancock's words, and he quickly said his plan without concealing it. The two of them were deeply moved by Boa Hancock's righteous help, especially Lu Chengkong. He knew very well how precious the hockey cultivation method of Nine Snake Island is. The entire One Piece King of Pirates world, even Whitebeard, does not have the hockey cultivation method. Even Luffy and Boa Hancock in the original book did not hand over hockey's cultivation method. Obviously, the matter of Tenryubito still has a great influence on the Boa Hancock in the original book, and the hockey cultivation method of Nine Snake Island is related to the best interests of Nine Snake Island. Boa Hancock can see how much she cares about Lu Chengkong and the two of them if she agrees directly without thinking about it. Compared with everything in the original book, Lu Chengkong and the two saved the three Boa Hancocks, and let them get rid of the fate of becoming slaves. For Lu Chengkong and the two Boa Hancock three sisters, they have always been grateful. In this way, Boa Hancock agreed so forthrightly, because to her, the people of Nine Snake Island gave up on her when she was most helpless, but Lu Chengkong and others rescued her when she was most helpless. The gap is too great to make up. In particular, Buluoli Beat Saw has never come to save her. That is, when she knew that she has the qualifications of conqueror, she did her best to cultivate her. The combination of these reasons caused Ju Snake Island in her heart and Lu Chengkong. The difference between the two is so huge. What? You left in just a year? That CF9 take me there when you leave, and I'll help you kill all those guys. Boa Hancock immediately spoke his thoughts and said terrifying words. But her tone was indifferent. Hee, CF9 is basically my people. I just want to go back to take the wealth of the world government. There are a lot of good things there. The merits we got for defeating Shichibukai's Kegopil before can be exchanged for a demon fruit, or a famous knife. If you don't take these things away, it will be too cheap for them. Don't worry, I will leave as soon as I go back, and we will have more opportunities to be together in the future. Lu Chengkong said with a light smile. Oh, you mean that you will come back here after you go back and take those things? Boa Hancock obviously misunderstood what Lu Chengkong meant, and said with joy on his face. No, Khalifa and I will go to Sky Island. There may be something we need there. Well, don't be like this. I didn't say I wouldn't go with you. Lu Chengkong looked at Boa Hancock with an emotional expression like a little girl. Said with a somewhat amused expression. That's great. Boa Hancock suddenly smiled, and Khalifa and Lu Chengkong also laughed after being infected by her smile. That night, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa stayed in Boa Hancock's room and had a long chat with her and her two sisters, telling each other what had happened over the years until they fell asleep late at night. Boa Hancock woke up the next day and found that he and a man had slept in his boudoir all night. Although they didn't hug each other and nothing happened, but even so, she still blushed. It's a pity that after noticing the appearance of Lu Chengkong and Khalifa at this time, he was actually very annoyed and felt a sense of grief in his heart. How could the two of them be like this, sleeping together and being so natural and sweet, are they both? At this moment, an idea appeared in her heart, and the appearance of this idea was like a seed usually buried deep in her heart. It took root and sprouted up in her heart at an alarming rate, even if she didn't think about it or admit it. The two of them have come together day and night. Boa Hancock thought that his face was a little haggard, and he lost his previous strength, but gave a kind of pitiful look to a wounded girl, which makes people bear it at first sight. He couldn't stop holding her in his arms and comforting her. Just when Boa Hancock didn't know what to do, a soft snort pulled her spirits back. She immediately put away these thoughts and organized herself as much as possible to keep herself the same as before, try to be as natural as possible. Get up, wash your face and then I'll teach you hockey. Although Boa Hancock tried to be natural, the smile on her face still gave a bitter feeling, at least Lu Chengkong could see it at a glance. What's going on? It's still fine. Why did I wake up like I'm very unhappy? I'm still wearing my clothes. I didn't do anything to her. How could this happen? Lu Chengkong thought with a puzzled look. After seeing the Khalifa in my arms after the film, I suddenly realized. It seems that Hancock has fallen in love with me, but it's too fast, I only knew her for 2 days. To make her fall in love with me. There was no slave scene in the original book, and I didn't beat Tenryubito. How did she like me? It's so weird. Liu Chengkong was very proud at the same time. After all, Boa Hancock's beauty is unquestionable. The female emperor of the pirate world has more powerful strength than in the original work. Elegant, graceful, full of breasts, willow waist, slender white and tender legs, any of them can make those women become attractive to men, not to mention that all these beautiful things are concentrated on her. If this is the case, then I can only accept it. Anyway, Khalifa's status is unchanged. Maybe in my heart, besides Khalifa, this woman is the most important to me. After all, I have experienced life and death when I was a child. And he is so loyal to himself. Liu Chengkong thought to himself while he woke Khalifa, washed his face, and led Boa Hancock to an open space. Okay, I'll teach you 2 hokis from now on, but before that, I want you to be prepared. Hoki's practice can be said to be a life and death experience, if you don't have the determination to die. No, there is no failure. If you are determined to succeed, then I advise the 2 of you to give up. Boa Hancock said with a serious face when he transformed into a master at this time, and he couldn't help but think of the scenes when he was learning the 3-color hoki, and he couldn't help but fight a chill. 79079 Hancock's strangeness. We have dealt with death many times, but it is not possible to want my life for the time being. Come on, Liu Chengkong and Khalifa looked at each other and said in unison. Really, since that's the case, let's start. Seeing that the 2 of them acted in such a consistent and tacit understanding, Boa Hancock was more certain of her previous guesses, and felt even more irritable, but in order to maintain her good image in front of Liu Chengkong, but it was abruptly suppressed. Then tell you 2 about hoki before that, which can be divided into observation hoki, armament hoki and hoki. The more special conqueror hoki. Observation hoki's hoki senses the position and number of characters, and can even predict the opponent's movements. Armament's hoki, if used for defense, can be the hardest armor, can bounce off the opponent's attack, if used for attack can be the hardest blade. This kind of hoki can also ignore the fruit ability. This is in addition to finding the weak point of the fruit, the only hoki in the world that can crack the fruit ability, and armament's hoki can be attached to some weapons to increase its destructive power, such as hoki wrapped around ordinary arrows to shoot stone. These 2 types of hoki, but the average person is too weak to notice if they don't practice, and these 2 types of hoki can be strengthened through practice. And the next is the 3rd type of hoki, conqueror's hoki. This kind of hoki is quite special. It can be said that among millions of people there is only one person who has the hoki of the so-called chosen person, that is, the king's qualification, that stands above people. This type of hoki is a hoki formed by its own strength. It cannot be cultivated and improved, but the conqueror hoki will also be enhanced through the enhancement of its own strength. It can only be controlled. If it is not well controlled, it is best not to use it, because it will hurt yourself. Mastering all 3 kinds of hoki is not an overnight thing, and many people only focus on mastering one. Okay, all the explanations have been explained, and now I will show you, Khalifa, you are the ability of the Logia fruit. If you fight against you, you will be the one who can best reflect this effect and hit me with all your strength. Boa Hancock explained all 3 hoki abilities in one breath and then said to Khalifa. Okay. Khalifa didn't refuse either, because she knew that the best way to master hoki was to experience the mystery of hoki, so she didn't refuse to turn into a light and rush towards Boa Hancock directly. It's useless. This kind of light-like movement speed would be in a hurry if faced by an average strong person, but for me, who is familiar with using observation hoki, it's useless. I saw Boa Hancock shook his head. Her tone was extremely relaxed, and she didn't take this terrifying speed into consideration at all. While speaking, her footsteps moved, her body shifted a little to the left, just right to avoid the shigun used by Khalifa at the speed of light. Finger pistol. How is that possible? Khalifa said with a look of disbelief after recovering. although she already knew in her heart that Boa Hancock was using the observation hockey she just said, but she said so, but she still couldn't believe it without experiencing it firsthand. But just now, she clearly saw that Boa Hancock had already reacted in advance before she shot, and she had shifted to the left before she moved. It was terrible. This is observation hockey, which senses the position and number of characters, and can even predict the opponent's movements. I just used this ability to avoid your attack, so come on, this time it's armament. Although Boa Hancock was very uneasy. Happy is very irritable, but he is disciplined in teaching, and he is simply the most severe teacher. Okay, the light of judgment. Khalifa's face sank, his hands were empty, and a dazzling golden holy light bloomed on his body, and then all the holy light on his body concentrated on the jade hand and shot at Boa Hancock in an instant. Broken. Boa Hancock's expression did not change. This time, he did not use observation hockey to predict the attack to dodge, but stood still. The moment the light of judgment hit her, an invisible layer of hockey covered her. It formed the hardest armor, and actually bounced Khalifa's light of judgment abruptly. This is armament hockey's defensive stance. When you're ready, you can elementalize or move at the speed of light, so that you can show armament hockey's attacking stance more clearly. I'm here, Boa Hancock said after seeing Khalifa immediately after entering the elementalization. Hockey was placed on the jade hand, and it was a little bit away from the elementalized Khalifa. Boom. Khalifa's face changed, and her body that had been elementalized was instantly resolved. Not only did such a huge invisible force push her whole body out, but it was Boa Hancock's control of the power and hockey to the least. Otherwise hockey would become the hardest. The sharp blade then directly pierced Khalifa's body. Shaving. Lu Chengkong on the side immediately used shaving to come behind Khalifa and hug her body that was still flying backwards, but the huge force still pushed him back a good meter before stopping. What a powerful hockey. Boa Hancock, who is only 19 years old at this time, is definitely no worse than when he was 29 years old in the original book, or even worse. Even if Admiral encounters her, the possibility of being defeated is very high. Lu Chengkong couldn't calm down like a huge wave in his heart for a long time. Although he knew that if Boa Hancock hadn't fallen into Tenryubito's hands and became a slave, his strength would definitely be much stronger than the original, but he never thought it would be so much stronger. They really got together. How could my heart feel so uncomfortable? Khalifa is my good friend Lu Chengkong. Yes, I should be happy for them when they come together, but why does my heart feel so painful, as if being stabbed by a needle? Boa Hancock's face was a little pale, and his body was shaking a little, as if he was about to fall down at any moment. Lu Chengkong saw Boa Hancock's change and his complexion changed. He hugged Khalifa and came to Boa Hancock's side and directly supported her. What's wrong with you? Lu Chengkong really didn't know what was going on at this time. How could it be so serious that he was about to faint now? Even if she likes her, but she is already beside her, there is no reason to be lovesick. Concubine. Concubine doesn't know about it. I just know that my heart is very painful. Boa Hancock saw Lu Chengkong hug him, and watched with concern that his heart that had been stabbed miraculously recovered. Come here. At this moment, she feels as if she is wrapped in a warm spring breeze. Very comfortable, but she still points to the position of her heart very honestly. 8080 Khalifa's thoughts. Lovesickness. No, you can feel lovesick when you stand next to her, which seems to have exceeded the limit of lovesickness. Lu Chengkong looked at the pale face of Boa Hancock and the appearance of lovesickness in her original book. I was speechless after comparing. Then take a break first, at least take it slowly for a year. Don't worry, there is no problem with your body when you practice hockey, right? Khalifa also said worriedly on the side. Obviously she didn't know the inside story is that there is something wrong with Boa Hancock's body, and he has even used the holy light to treat Boa Hancock's body. It's okay, I'm better now, let's continue. Boa Hancock slowly stood up and found that he had recovered. Although it was a bit strange, he didn't pay much attention to it, and immediately resumed the topic just now. Finally, it's Conqueror Hockey. This time, It's not only for you Khalifa, but also for you in the sky. Having experienced the baptism of Conqueror is very helpful to awakening Haki, and it can also improve the resistance to Haki, so you are ready. Boa Hancock looked ready at this time, and his previous morbidity was no longer at all, and he spoke powerfully, making Lu Chenggong very speechless. Come on. Speechless, Conqueror still has to feel it. After all, the benefits are so huge, and they can also improve their toughness, resistance, etc. Of course, such a good thing must be tried. This is Conqueror Haki. Boa Hancock's face sank. His eyes burst out with terrifying majesty, as if she was the Empress of the Sea, high above and unattainable. Lu Chenggong and Khalifa felt a very strong momentum in an instant. The oppression on the body is not only the oppression of the inner body, but also the oppression of the spirit. In an instant, they only feel that their heads have become a little confused. In the end, he fell to the ground in a very unsatisfactory state, but fortunately they had experienced the baptism of Haki, a mysterious girl who was called a pervert before, and his will was very strong, so even if he was unwilling, he still clenched his silver teeth and did not fall into a coma. Past. It's terrifying. We have no resistance just by releasing it. How can we fight against each other? It seems that I underestimate the world. Boa Hancock is at most Admiral level, and has not reached Roger or Golden Lion yet. Whitebeard, Garp, Sengoku, etc. But even if I release Haki, I have no resistance, and even Hancock has not released his full strength at this time. If he releases his full strength, he and Khalifa will definitely be suffocated and fainted immediately. Lu Chenggong's face was pale, his body trembled constantly, and he barely recovered after several minutes. Is this the Conqueror? It's scary. It's as expected that only one person in a million can have it. Khalifa was also dripping with cold sweat, and said in a terrified tone. Strange. Boa Hancock looked a little weird at this time, especially when he looked at Lu Chenggong. What's wrong? My heart hurts again, Khalifa hurriedly asked after hearing this. I'm fine, but the sky looks strange. It is very difficult for people without Haki to resist Conqueror, although we have all experienced the Haki oppression of that little woman before, and our resistance is superior to others, but the breath of Chenggong just now was too strange. Boa Hancock felt a little ashamed. He knew that Khalifa and Lu Chenggong had come together, but he still couldn't help but put a foot in. Now facing Khalifa's clear water worries, she felt a little uncomfortable. Generally speaking, people with the aptitude of kings will exude their own unique breath when facing the oppression of Conqueror. If it is the owner of Conqueror Haki, it will be triggered a little bit of passive resistance. If not, there will be no this kind of aura. Khalifa, you didn't have anything just now, but Chenggong obviously didn't have anything, but just when I was about to put away Haki, I found a palpitating aura on his body, as if he was facing a ferocious like a terrifying demon. This is not the qualification of a king at all, the breath of a conqueror. Didn't you say that there are only 3 kinds of Haki? Does Chenggong have a 4th kind of Haki? Khalifa hurriedly asked after hearing about Lu Chenggong's condition. I am also wondering about this. I have seen the understanding, application, practice, experience and explanation of Haki by the emperors in the 9 Snake Island. I have never heard of the 4th type of Haki. Maybe it is a mutation. In the end, Boa Hancock could only summarize the changes in Lu Chenggong to the mutants, and in the end it was nothing. Okay, now everything I know about Haki has been explained clearly. Take a rest and start practicing in the afternoon. Boa Hancock said and immediately sent someone to prepare breakfast, and then sat next to Lu Chenggong and accompanied him. Chatting in a sentence. It seems that Hancock really likes Chenggong. Khalifa, who didn't know what was going on just now, was able to confirm that Boa Hancock absolutely fell in love with his man through a morning of secret observation, although you and her heart were very uncomfortable, but she still didn't say anything. First, she knew that she was really unable to satisfy Lu Chenggong. Even if she closed her mouth and used it, she couldn't be satisfied. Second, Boa Hancock was her only boudoir close friend besides Lu Chenggong, and she really didn't want to suffer because of something that had not happened yet. The relationship is very rigid. The third and most important thing is that she knows that her man will never be the only woman in the future, and no matter how many women he has in the future, she will be the most important person in Lu Chengkong's heart, and her status is unshakable. That being the case, then why not let Lu Chengkong find something he likes, and he won't get along with him, and he won't make the family very chaotic, and the most important thing is that Boa Hancock has the best relationship with her. Rather than let Lu Chengkong find some. If you don't like someone you don't know, you might as well find a good friend of yours. Besides, if you love me, the fat water will not flow to the outside world. If she does this, Boa Hancock will definitely feel good about herself, and she will definitely stand on her side in the future. She cannot care that Lu Chengkong has other women, but she is absolutely not allowed to have. Other women came to destroy the warm home created by them and Lu Chengkong. With the addition of Boa Hancock, it would be easier to maintain, save worry and effort, and they could keep a close eye on Lu Chengkong. Hancock, come with me later, I have something to tell you. Khalifa, who had such thoughts in her heart, immediately put these thoughts into action and said suddenly to Boa Hancock beside her, making her a little confused for a while,